What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny's Planet of the Apes in Review. Of course, I am Tim Geddes. I am joined by Jubilee, Andy Cortez.
Hello.
I just love it so much. Every time I see it, it's like a brand new sense of joy.
Thank you.
You know, joining us as well, making his return to the Planet of the Apes in Review. Luckily, he got to miss last week's episode. It's Timur Hussein.
I'm back, baby, and I'm
Lucky son
excited
of
to
a
talk about. I watched some of that movie, and I was like, you know what? I'm glad I'm not going to make this one.
Of course, it is Christmas in May, Joey Noel.
Apes together strong, you know?
Dude, let's go. And we have the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Tomorrow, that's like 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. So you owe us ice cream after this.
Are you, do you mind like just giving him a quick synopsis, Nick? Like the end
Yeah,
of the
what
movie?
happened?
Oh my God,
Because I
okay.
watched like maybe, I got to the point where they tried to escape from the bad.
No. See, you got to set it up. We got to set this up for anyone who didn't watch last week.
Give it to him, Nick.
We are a hyper advanced civilization. The year is 2029. That is 5 years away from us. And the best we could figure out to do to get unmanned drones to space is to train monkeys and genetically engineer them. And the best person we can get to lead that program is Mark Wahlberg. Hey, is that a monkey? Oh my God. Why is that monkey looking at me wrong? Is he a Red Sox fan? I hope he's not a Yankees fan. If he is, I'm going to hit him with a fucking hand. I'm going to hit him with my fucking hand.
Hit him with the fucking hand.
At the very, very end, essentially the monkey that he sent through, the monkey that he was chasing through the portal pops up at the very, very end of the movie. And all the apes are like, oh my God, Lisan al-Gaib, like he's right here. And then everybody
He will know our
worships
ways.
him. And then Mark Wahlberg is like, let's go teach some evolution to the monkeys. That's what he says.
It's good.
It's really good.
And then he makes out with one of the monkeys.
No, the
Not kidding.
Helena
the
Bonham
female
Carter.
monkey?
He kissed,
Yeah.
He kissed her and then kissed a blonde girl like 10 minutes
Immediately
later.
after.
Oh, that's how you.
So another blonde girl
that's how
has
you
mange.
spread disease.
That's not safe.
And then you missed the best part of the end where he flies through time in some sense. He lands at the Lincoln Memorial and he looks up.
It's not
Abe
Lincoln.
Lincoln, but an ape.
It's Caesar Memorial.
See, where I thought it was going is
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, move that mic a little
was right
closer to your
there.
mouth.
It
Move the
was
mic a little
right
closer.
there,
you
Kevin.
go.
Thank you.
where I thought it was going was his monkey goes through the portal, the wormhole. He goes in, but it's like decades later, and his monkey is like the empire's leader. That would have been like
Yeah, no, there's a lot
cool.
of things they could have done. They
Yeah.
didn't.
They didn't do
They
anything.
They
didn't
could have
do
made
that.
a decent movie.
No.
This time hole works oppositely.
Yeah.
he comes in before the other one. It's real bad.
The important thing is, at no point in that movie during 2 hours is Helena Bonham Carter's character not super horny.
Yeah.
For Mark Wahlberg.
She might be the horniest character ever put
Yeah.
on screen.
And that's really all you need to walk away from that.
This is Kind of Funny's in review. Each and every week, we get together to rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. Of course, you can go above and beyond. Become a Kind of Funny member on Patreon or YouTube, where you can get the shows ad-free, watch live as we record them, and get a daily exclusive show. But if you can't do that, it's totally cool. We appreciate you anyways. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on podcast services around the globe, make sure that you check out Kind of Funny in review on your favorite podcast service. Please subscribe, like us, all that stuff. And we're in our new home now on YouTube, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Thank you so much for loving and support us over here. Drop some comments. You know what I mean? Let us know what you think about apes in general. You know what I mean? Do you get mad when we call them monkeys instead of apes? I know a lot of you do. It's not going to stop me, though. And I'm not doing it to upset anybody. I'm just really too stupid to ever like not think about it as the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all
I think of
apes.
them as synonyms, and I know that that's a problem.
It's
Yeah.
like
If they
it's like
have tails,
yeah.
Let 'em wail.
No
Yeah.
tails, ape.
Never
It's
fail.
like dragons and
What about-
wyverns.
Yeah.
People get real upset when
Dragons
you
and
call a
what?
wyvern or
Wyverns.
wyvern.
wyverns?
What the
a-
hell's a wyvern?
it's not a dragon, that's for sure.
Goddamn shit.
It's Nick. Do you just have wings and 4 legs, or do you have 2 legs and are your arms part of your wings?
Wings.
Shut the fuck up. That's awesome. I'm
they
not
like-
going to remember
Like,
it.
you know how
yeah.
the pterodactyls kind of crawl with their wings
Yeah.
in their hands.
So
or
what would a
whatever?
gargoyle be?
Gargoyle, technically.
You raise your eyebrow as if like,
Probably
gotcha.
Yeah,
Motherfucker.
yeah. I mean,
Technically a dragon.
technically a dragon. Yeah.
Sick.
So
Shout
Goliath.
out to our
No, it's
Patreon
different.
producers, Carl Jacobs, Nathan Lamoth, Karen Lindner, Fargo Brady, Alex J. Sandoval, James Hastings, and Casey Andrew. You truly
Thank you.
are the best of us. Today we're brought to you by Aura Frames, Shady Rays, and BetterHelp. But we'll get to all of that later because we got to get into Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So many of these. For a franchise that I'll never get over the naming scheme for these movies. Like, why did Dawn come after Rise? You know?
Yeah.
The first movie should have been Dawn. of the Planet of the Apes, and then Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and then War of the Planet of the Apes, but it just wasn't.
That's your criticism
Of those movies?
of the movie my criticism is like, why are there so many of those in the sentences?
Well, that's
of
a
these
problem
things?
too. That is
And
a
I
problem.
get
Why
it.
not
I
just
understand.
Kingdom of the Apes?
Or Planet of the Apes Kingdom? I don't know.
Rise
like,
of the Apes,
You
Dawn of the
need
Apes.
Planet of the Apes in there.
I mean, that's the problem is you need Planet of the Apes because otherwise people are they're gonna conflate it.
That'd be
with
like
all
Fast
the
and
other
Furious
monsters.
dropping any of those words. You know what I mean? How are people gonna fucking know?
Yeah.
Isn't there?
Furious 7.
I was thinking, like, couldn't they just, like you said, do Planet of the Apes Kingdom or something like that? But isn't there a Jurassic Park Kingdom? Or
I mean,
something
there's
like
also
that?
Frozen
Jurassic
Kingdom, which just came
yeah,
out.
Maybe
Then there's
it's
the other
like,
kingdom that just came out. Like,
Well, they're
so many
doing
Godzilla
Jurassic
Kingdom.
City.
is that are you joking or is that real?
Well, Jurassic
That's
World
where it's at
is now
right
what
now.
they call it,
Jurassic
right?
City?
Yeah.
Is the next one?
Damn, that sucks.
That's Gareth Edwards, right? I think.
I think that's right.
Pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, I feel you. My thing is when I saw the title pop up, just from like a font perspective, I was like, it's too many words, too many of this.
There's just
It's the of the stack on each side.
of the.
well,
and I'm
Cameron
like,
Kennedy nailed it in our intro. We're kind of funny's review of the kingdom of the yeah.
But yes, watching it, I was like, this should just be called like Kingdom of the Apes.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Dawn of the Apes, Rise of the
Same
Apes.
font. It works.
It
You know?
works, man.
But people
I
are
don't
dumb
figure
and they
it
don't
out.
understand that it's a Planet
I
of the
mean,
Apes movie. They'll think it's a Godzilla
put an
movie.
ape on the poster. People will understand.
They'll fucking get it. Maybe
It
throw a
does the
bird.
same thing for me as the Mission Impossible movies, where I'm like, I don't really remember which one's which because it doesn't really have any bearing on what actually happens.
That
in
is
the movie.
very
Fair
true.
enough.
But this one is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Runtime 2 hours and 25 minutes. Released on May 10th, 2024. Directed by Wes Ball. You might know Wes Ball from The Maze Runner, or The Maze Runner: The Scourge Trials, or The Maze Runner: The Death Cure. No?
Anyone here seen
I've seen
Maze
the first
Runner?
Maze Runner. I'll be honest.
Or the Legend
The
of
upcoming
Zelda.
Legend of Zelda. He is directing the live-action Sony Pictures Legend of Zelda movie.
There's trailers.
9 years ago.
Sorry, I was gonna pull this up, but I like the colors aren't right, so I was gonna fix that first. But
Got it.
it's set to show you the. Give me a second.
I've not seen The Maze Runner at all.
No.
I did.
You have.
I did. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's a young adult book based on a young adult book, but it's good.
Yeah,
And it
The
got my
Miles
attention.
Teller one?
God, no, that is.
Or
yeah,
is this the
no,
Theo
that's-
James
The
one?
Miles Teller one is the one
Divergent?
with
Yeah.
Divergent.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's
This
one.
one I forget.
Theo James?
Yeah, I want to say Theo James is
No
the guy.
way.
And it's really interesting and cool at first because there's just a group of people that have no idea how they got into this maze and they just pop up in the middle of the maze. It's like a death trap. It's kind of Saw-esque, really. And then they get out of it. And I remember walking away from that being
wanna
like,
run this
that was
maze.
actually a pretty enjoyable, schlocky kind of B movie, young adult sort of thing. That was right around the time
Oh,
Hunger Games
Dylan
and all that stuff came out.
O'Brien.
Dylan O'Brien. And then I never watched any more. Actually, I do think I started watching the second one, and I was like, I don't
Like the
I don't
franchise
this
ended for
anymore.
you there. You're like, what a sad ending.
How many mazes can they get trapped in?
But I remember
that's-
liking it. And honestly, he's a good director. This
He
was
is.
This
He
was one
is.
of those things I know for you, Tim, where you were like, is he going to be capable enough for Legend of Zelda? And from my perspective, I think he is.
Honestly, like before getting into the thoughts on this movie itself, like yeah, that's right where I wasn't really excited about this movie whatsoever. I loved the last trilogy, as you guys all know. I watched it for the first time with you, but I was really like, is Wes Ball going to be able to do Zelda? And I went in being like, this movie's going to fucking suck, but Zelda. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And hey, I might be changing my tune. Theo James is a voice in the new X-Men show of
what is he?
the new bad guy character that they introduced in the more recent episodes without spoiling anything.
No way, that's him?
Theo James.
I was trying to, dude, for the longest time, I was trying to place that guy's voice. And I was like, I'll get it eventually. I would have never gotten that.
Theo James, man. Pretty
He's
cool.
he's good. He's a good voice actor, too.
But yeah, so he did the Maze Runner movies and is going to be doing Legend of Zelda. The music was done by John Pisano, who we know from Daredevil, the show.
Oh.
He also composed the mix for the Avengers campus themed area
that's
at
cool.
Disneyland, where it takes all the different Marvel themes together. Did an amazing job. I love that. But most, I would say, importantly, he did the score to all of the Insomniac Spider-Man games.
Oh.
And we praise that a lot. So,
Yeah.
and Eddie, you were telling me,
I thought the score in this movie was very like I am not the score guy. I just know that I get goosebumps whenever there's a big kind of like, you know, eruption of like visuals and sound and feelings and music, and when all that stuff's kind of hidden and you start to get sort of emotionally impacted by it. I thought the score in this movie was really awesome. The chase scenes were super intense. I just really appreciated the his use of creating tension with these like really kind of creepy, scary sounds at times. That was awesome.
yep. This one had a budget of 160 million and box office eyeing 130 million plus for opening weekend. So trending
good.
pretty damn
That's
well
pretty
right
good,
now.
yeah.
So good,
That's
good
good
for
news.
them. Very, very good news. So yeah, with all of that out of the way, Nicholas Scarpino, what did you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
I enjoyed it. I'm always sort of amazed when I walk out of these films that it was a good experience and they've made something compelling out of, let's be honest, the goofiest concept on the planet. There was a moment about 10 minutes in where I laughed out loud. I don't know if you know why I was laughing out loud, but you shot me a look like, be mature right now or amongst other people. But it dawned on me that I was like, we are watching a movie about talking fucking apes.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And that happens every single time I watch one of these. And if you can just set that part of your brain aside for a second, this is a pretty compelling movie. It's got great acting. I thought it was shot beautifully. I thought the action sequences were great. And they managed to find just enough meat on the bone to keep me interested the entire time. Only criticism, a little too long. And I think a lot of that has to do with the cadence of how the monkeys, like the apes, talk to each other. And once the human character got introduced, you notice that all the apes started talking a little bit faster. And I'm like, can we just headcanon away the fact that they kind of speak in sort of a broken tone? And can they just speak perfect English like they're like, it's been 1,000 years. Can they just, can we just hurry this up? We could have clipped out 15. Whatever.
Let them marathon
15 minutes out of this.
Seinfeld and just understand full English.
Exactly. But no, got to the end of this, and it's another one where I don't know that I ever need to watch this movie again. Having said that, if the sequel's coming, I'll watch it. I enjoyed it.
Joey Noel.
I had a good time. I was surprised at how far we got into the movie. And I was like, oh, I guess there's not really like that many humans in this one. I was not expecting that, which was so interesting just because I'm like, that has been such like a core point of these movies. I was like, oh, I guess we're just going to have a 1.5-ish kind of characters. I liked it. The 2.5 hours, I feel like feels like it's 2.5 hours, but I wasn't bored at any point of it. But I just don't know that I need that many movies to be 2.5 hours long. I feel like I would be totally fine with it being under 2, but whatever. And I liked the like core group that we had of characters. It's always hard when you're starting like brand new, especially with the prior installments being so strong. But I feel like they had really heartfelt moments. I kind of didn't care about the humans this time, which is interesting because I feel like I've cared about them so much before, but that's also part of being the first installment. And I'm very interested to see if we get more of these. I don't know. I had a good time.
Tam.
I had a good time. I do have like a few criticisms of it. Obviously, big fan of the original trilogy, the Matt Reeves trilogy, I guess. I think that what it does really well is build upon the Matt Reeves stuff with new world building in a way that's quite good. Like we didn't get much about like the different clans. So this is all focused on like the Eagle clan but before we didn't get much of that. And I really like that. It means that like there's an entire ecosystem to be explored. The thing that I was missing, and I talked to you guys about it afterwards, was from the outset, it goes straight into monkey politics and monkey culture, or ape culture, sorry everyone. Ape culture and ape politics and hierarchy and that kind of stuff. And obviously that's what you want. But as a viewer, I was missing the human connection, as Joey said. Not just like there's no humans, so I'm not feeling it. It's more that like in the original trilogy, it starts with Caesar being connected intimately and emotionally with a human. And that kind of touchstone for the through line of the entire series was really important. Because even by the third movie, I was thinking about where Caesar came from. And the growth of that, or the journey that he's been on, was way more compelling to me. And this one, the main ape, Noah, is kind of like just there. You're introduced almost like halfway through his story already. And that's not to say he's a bad character. Still very compelling as a character. Just didn't have that Caesar element to it where it's like, I care about the journey this character has been on. And I can see why he's doing this kind of stuff. And the other main criticism is I didn't think the antagonist, the main bad ape, was very good. Like he seemed kind of dumb at times. And I think part of that is also I'm comparing it to like is it Cobra from the previous? Like Cobra is still an incredible villain. Like genuinely terrifying to look at. This dude feels like he's a grifter monkey.
He's trying to hit those highs.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's a grifter monkey, and he's like, "Oh, look at me, I'm new season now."
What a wonderful day.
Yeah. He does have some charisma with the "What a Wonderful Day" thing, but I feel like we don't get much time with him, and his whole thing is like, give me treats. That's what I want, my treats. That's it. But otherwise, like, I really enjoyed a lot of it. The score was great. I feel like the kind of cinematography and like the whole like the world that is where when I saw that I was like, oh, this guy could do Zelda. Like, he could do Zelda for sure. But yeah, good film.
Andy Cortez.
I don't know if it's because of where our expectations were that I like loved this movie. I think I just leading up to it wasn't really feeling the hype. Wasn't super looking forward to going back to this world, especially with how awesome the original trilogy was. But like 10, 12 minutes into the movie, you're like, I already care about these characters, and they're framed in such a way that. And they're written in such a way, and they have such great little interactions with each other that I already care, and I'm invested back into this world, like just like that. Like, I didn't even notice it happen. Right? Visuals are fucking stunning. The rendering on these apes and the eye rendering and the hair, everything just looks freaking phenomenal. The performances were fantastic. Shout out my boy Raka. That dude was the homie. Loved the voice acting there. I think when it comes to the main antagonist, I totally understand the issues that Tam has with it, and with what some of y'all may have with it as well. I think the performance elevated it to a point where I didn't really notice a whole lot of the other drawbacks when it comes to like motivations and stuff. I actually kind of really dug the motivations of like, no, these people are trying to come back, and we don't, and whatever they're searching for, whatever's in there, I want what's in there. It was totally serviceable enough for me to give a shit about it, but the performance and just little line deliveries that he had here and there that I thought were just so fucking fantastic. And I just loved looking at these apes' faces and seeing how the facial capture was translated to how their faces were emoting. And those moments where I'm just like kind of like laughing in a way like, God damn, that looks fucking great when somebody reacts to another character or whatever. I enjoyed the journey of this. I do agree. It maybe shave off 15 to 20 minutes, and I think it would have been a much tighter product. But man, overall, I was way more than blown away. Like, my expectations were really blown out of the water with this. I had a great time with it, and I really want to watch it again, if only to see it on a big OLED TV, on a 4K Blu-ray. Like, the visuals are that stunning to me. I had a great time with it, Tim.
Well, yeah, that was my thing too. Kind of walking away, we were fortunate enough to see it in IMAX, but it was just a little soft.
Yeah.
And I was like,
bummer, man.
I really want to see this movie on my OLED at home and just see how beautiful it is, because some of the shots were a little CGE, so like a little too cartoony, and then some of them I was like, oh my God, that is breaking my brain how good this movie looks.
Yeah.
Tim,
I loved this movie, man. I really loved this movie, and I'm with Andy that I don't think it's the best thing ever. I just came in with such low expectations, and I didn't think it was going to be bad. But before we went live on the show, we were talking about how it's similar to Kung Fu Panda, where we watched Kung Fu Panda recently. Of course. 1 through 3, prepping for 4,
Right.
And it was my first time seeing any of them. And you were saying that like we kind of went into the Kingdom thinking it was going to be like Kung Fu Panda 4, which is like, it's a legacy sequel that just did not need to happen. Like, yes, it's in the world, but is it really going to respect the movies that happened before? Is it going to progress it in a way that actually matters? Is it going to be its own thing? And we saw Kung Fu Panda 4, and it wasn't. And that was such a
cash
bummer
grab, yeah.
because 1 through 3 were such amazing surprises. But taking it even a step further, this movie reminds me so much of what I loved about Kung Fu Panda 1 through 3, in that it's just a perfect example of playing the hits, doing every stereotype we've seen a million times. The story's nothing new. The action's nothing new. The emotional beats are nothing new, but they're just done pitch perfect. It's just done in such a way that I'm like, this comes together to a package that, yeah, that's what this movie should have been. That's what this type of sequel can be. I'm very impressed by how much care was put into continuing the story of those 3 movies that are classics. Those are amazing. And I'm so happy we watched those on In Review, because I feel I now stand by, and I stood by this before with that being a trilogy, but now that there's 4 of them, I think these might be like the 4 most like underrated or at least underappreciated major blockbuster movies that exist. Like there's so much artistry put into this on a technical level, like how great this movie looks. Like I'm with Andy that I was blown away and captivated by the animation. And yeah, there's going to be scenes of like it doesn't look as good or whatever. That's not what I remember from this, though. I remember it being like, God damn, man.
When that gorilla's chasing Noah in the water. Holy shit.
The water stuff at the end is crazy.
Well, there's only really one point where it looks to me noticeably odd, and it was when it was like static frame, one tree in the middle, and one of the apes was climbing up, and you could see like the animation slightly like janky there, but otherwise like they do a real good job of like staying in motion and like making sure it's never like too awkward. When this camera is static, it's usually because it's a close shot of an ape and they need you to emote. They need it to emote, and there's a conversation happening. When it's like action, they're always just moving, so you don't really get a chance to like pick at all the animations and stuff. So I feel like it looks really good.
Similar to when you see like when you see Tom Holland as Spider-Man running around, and then it transitions into the CG version of Tom Holland. You're like, oh, I can tell that's not a real human in a suit. That's just the movement there just doesn't look natural. To me, I was just like blown away by, I'd say like 99% of everything I was seeing.
Yeah. And I feel like it was backed up by great performances and I want to say fun to follow story. And like I wanted to see the twists and turns, and some of the twists I were like, I'm genuinely interested in this. The way they handle the human character, didn't expect him to go that route. And the way this movie ends, I'm like, I cannot wait for a sequel.
Yeah.
Like I left this wanting so much more. And I normally agree with the table. I feel like all of us kind of prefer the shorter movies. I loved the runtime of this. Like I was captivated the entire time, and I feel like with the story it told, this was an adventure. And I feel like I went on the adventure, and I feel like there's not a part of this that I'm like, we could have cut that stop. Like I feel like every stop that they did, every person that they met or whatever added to this journey that to me really kind of paid off. And like for the antagonists, like definitely it's not a Koba level for sure. Yeah. But I do think it was more than serviceable. It did the job. He had the catchphrases and he had charisma, which I think really mattered. But less him specifically, but more the concept of taking the legacy of Caesar and seeing what essentially religion can do, even when humans are essentially gone and these monkeys, I'm gonna fucking say it, start to realize like, oh, there was once this Caesar, and like the way the movie opens, like with like the funeral of Caesar was so smart, so beautiful. It was great. But I love that there's like different clans out there that treat the legacy of Caesar differently. And that's just like real life. And I just think that they did a great job of like not necessarily saying there's a right and wrong to it all. And I think having the human side of it and having the humans still fighting, like some of the final shots towards the end, I was like, that is amazing. Like when you see what she has behind her back, I'm just like, that's good, man. That's really, really good. Yeah. So yeah, I really loved this. And yeah, again, I don't think it is like a perfect thing or 10 out of 10 in any way. I do think though that it is fantastic. And I'm for it being the fourth movie in this franchise, what a success.
I knew the movie wasn't going to be a waste of time for me. The second, well, pretty early on actually, but the moment that the antagonist group, the one with the masks have sort of like destroyed a bunch of people, and there's like, all this carnage and stuff, and the protagonist Noah's sort of discovering all this stuff, very scared. What the fuck am I doing? I was just gonna go out for this eagle egg. Now what have I gotten myself into? And when the, I guess like second hand dude, the right hand man, the big gorilla guy goes for Caesar, I was like, oh shit, this is cool. And I don't know what they're setting up here, but I'm just into this idea that like some people sort of take his legacy a different way, and I just think it's like really awesome and well done.
I also really like that it does differentiate itself in terms of tone and theme. Like the original trilogy is very much built around like rage and revolution, and those are like the main thematic kind of threads that it goes through those movies. This one feels more like Noah doesn't feel like a powerful ape. He feels like there's times where he's desperate, like when he's going up against the gorilla, for example. It's never a given that he's gonna kick this gorilla's ass. Right. He barely escapes every time. And I love that the entire thing is just about him preserving the culture of his clan. Yeah. And the Eagle clan. And his fight isn't to, bring down an evil ape or like help apes rise up, it's to get his people back, get his clan back, and also make sure that their kind of traditions are kept alive. So I thought like it's very smartly done in that regard, like good tonal shift for me.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think the movie, just jumping off that, is I think the success of the movie for me was putting us in a place where you're like, we want him to recapture that, but we also kind of like as a human, you're kind of torn. Because you see that, and then you see the humans, you're like, I'm kind of on the side of the humans because I am human, but then I'm also kind of on the side of the apes because humans do kind of suck in this world, right? And so seeing that come full circle and seeing him go back to, start rebuilding and be the leader of his clan, and then seeing May go and sort of start the war essentially all over again is interesting, and it's a cool point of conflict for the audience to be in.
Yeah. Absolutely. We're going to get into the plot and talk about everything right after a word from our sponsors. This episode's brought to you by Aura Frames. Looking for the perfect gift to celebrate the moms in your life? Aura Frames are beautiful Wi-Fi connected digital picture frames that allow you to share and display unlimited photos. It's super easy to upload and share photos via the Aura app, and if you're giving an Aura as a gift, you can even personalize the frame with preloaded photos and memories. Greg, Kevin, and a ton of people here at Kind of Funny are obsessed with their Aura frames. It takes about 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. You can add unlimited photos and videos and invite as many people as you want to a frame. Aura displays photos in true color and automatically adjusts for the light level of the room. At night, when you turn off the lights, your frame also turns off to save energy. From grandmothers to new mothers, aunts, and even the friends in your life, every mom would love an Aura frame. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's auraframes.com and use code KINDOFFUNNY at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. This episode's brought to you by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. Y'all know I've been outside in the sun playing a lot of Pokemon Go, and it's such a great experience wearing Shady Rays when I am out and about looking dope. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost or broken replacements. If you lose or break a pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Exclusively for you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code KF20 for $20 off each pair of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. This episode's brought to you by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. I'm currently planning a wedding, so I know all about that. But when we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy helps you find your strengths so you can ditch the extreme resolutions and make changes that really stick. You can get out of your negative thought cycles and find some mental and emotional peace, and it can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind. Some of my best friends use BetterHelp and love how helpful it can be for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself, and it isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time for no additional charge. Celebrate the progress you've already made. Visit betterhelp.com/kindoffunny today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/kindoffunny.
I know the past several times I've been like, all right, this is going to be kind of hard for me to do, but
Do you want me to do a beat?
this is going to
Do you need to drop a funky beat?
this one I feel like I need to take for the Eagle Clan. I need to sort of take the responsibility here and like really own this. All right,
Got it.
Here we go.
There you go.
I'd watch this franchise forever. We all know apes are strong together. This movie's got monkeys and gorillas. This movie's got monkey and gorillas. Illas, ape. Monkeys and gorillas. Illas, ape.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Really
Welcome
hard
back
to
the
jump
plot.
and sing that at the same time.
The plot
How do you
of the
think
kingdom.
of these?
You didn't have me, and then you did. I thought you were gonna go like Hotel California for
Yeah.
Eagles. No, you got me though.
It was really good.
Nick hit us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the plot of the kingdom of the planet of the apes. This is where we start off. We got 3 apes. We got Noah and the other 2, whose names
We're at
I
the
don't know
funeral.
because
We get the funeral.
Oh, we are
Anaya?
the funeral. We are the funeral. We see Caesar being burned, and they give him the good old fashioned Darth Vader funeral.
Well, we
which is
get the
nice.
text first, which I just loved. I knew we
Yeah.
were in for an epic when the whole thing starts off, which is black with white text. It's just like giving us the story of what happened before, but they're not giving us a scroll. They're giving us just a couple words. Just you know what the fuck happened. But then it just ends with his name was Caesar. And as that goes away, we see the funeral. Beautiful stuff. I was grabbed immediately.
Very cool. We are 300 years in the future from this
300
point?
years.
And
They
we
say
start-
generations, but
Yeah.
the director said it was 300
They said
years.
several generations or something like that.
Perfect. We are climbing a big old tower to climb right now, and we meet our two of our main characters. Well, one of our main characters, I guess. The other 2 are side characters. We got Noah and his what's her name?
Anaya is
Anaya
one
was
of them,
the
and
other
then
male ape, and then
Anaya's the one that I can never figure out. Oh, so you can't speak, but you do.
Anaya is the coward, basically.
Anaya's
Yeah.
the coward who ends up not being a coward, but then is
Yeah.
sort of cowardly. We don't know. They are on their basically test, rite of passage, going up to the eagle's nest to get 1 eagle egg. It turns out they always leave 1 for the mama eagle. So if there's only 3, they only get 2. Then this is the first time we see Noah being brave. He's like, I know another nest, and it's higher and it's a harder climb, but he does it, and he uses rebar, and it's cool. And I wish, I'm torn on this, because I like the action of this. It's cool, but it is comic booky, and it ungrounds the series a little bit. I like it a little bit more when the stuff feels realistic, and in this he's kind of flipping and flying all around. We're getting into like Spider-Man 1 territory
He's
with
a
it.
monkey, man.
He is a monkey.
I mean, they do
It's
that,
not
bro.
as like comic booky. I feel like is at the end when they're climbing up the wall and that shit.
Some of that,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's an action movie, and it's totally acceptable. But for me, it's like I think the movie shines a little bit more when it's grounded in reality. But
they do a good job of like they have multiple characters going. You did the big climb. That's hard, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like afterwards, it's
Yeah,
like,
we
oh,
have
they
the one-
reinforce it. Yeah.
the one character who's like the dad's enforcer who looks at him, he's like, "Did that climb, huh?" And daps
Fuck
him
yeah,
up.
bro.
Dude,
Yeah,
that was
good
sick.
shit.
I mean, that was amazing.
That's a
I love
great
that.
little moment of
Yeah.
just kind of character building.
Well,
Well,
I
what-
love this whole opening. Like I felt like it did a really good job of you don't really know what they're doing or why they're doing it, but you're invested
I
and
thought
they're
they're gonna
building
eat.
tension. Yeah, 100%. You think
Love
that
that.
it's
Rocky.
and they totally
Crack in my
flip the
mouth.
script on it.
Yeah, that's the coolest concept to me is like, oh, they're gonna eat this, and Noah looking at them like, no, you take those 2. I'll go find another one day. I'm like, oh damn, so he's not gonna eat, like, you know, like I guess they're gonna have to share the egg or whatever. And then being like, what are you gonna name your eagle? I was like, oh shit, this is
They're gonna
cool.
raise him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really badass.
We do get a great moment of tension here, though, as Noah grabs his egg. He gets attacked by Mama Eagle, slides, goes all over the place, has this sort of Uncharted slide down the thing as we're following him, and then goes off the ledge and screams for a second. You're like, oh shit, is he dead? Is this going to be about the other monkeys? And it's not, because he's just kind of holding on, and he's got the egg in his foot. I'm like, let the egg go.
Nah, you
Let
gotta
it go.
Important, man.
They put him
Dude,
in a
hold on,
You
little
real
work
quick.
so hard.
I love this whole opening. I thought it was
too.
great. I loved him like pushing himself, climbing higher, and all that. And this was the moment that I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a good Zelda movie. Like we're already getting the climbing, we're already getting the problem
little
solving. of,
stamina
like,
meter there,
literally
depleting.
put the stamina meter in the UI over this film, and you can see it, dude. It's
Dude,
awesome.
looking at that larger tower that he really wants to go for because he knows there's another nest up there. Looks down, grabs the pipe, and fucking sticks that pipe in the wall and uses it to climb. I was like, dude, this
Yeah.
is sick as shit.
I feel like it's worth pointing out that like the reason he did that second climb is because they had to leave 1 egg and there was 3 of them, so that meant that for a moment he looked like he was preparing to not have an egg, not have an eagle, and then he saw there was another nest, a higher nest, and went to that and came back and was like, okay, everyone's got their Pokemon now. They're starter
Yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah.
That's the
And it-
same thing I was thinking.
It does say something about his character that like never in the conversation with the 3 of them was like, well, we could just take the 3rd egg and no one would ever know. Like it, like you can tell that this is like a deep tradition with like that they take really seriously. That's like, no, we don't want to, like, we are doing this to
Right.
be friends with the Eagles.
Of course, we go back. Once we get back to the village, they are the Bird Clan, I think. I forget what they were called.
Eagle Clan.
Eagle Clan, thank you. Bird Clan. That makes more sense. They're eagles. And you're like, why do they need so many? Why do we need so many eagles? There's so many eagles everywhere. It's like a hornet's nest everywhere of eagles, right? And then it turns
Bird
out
shit
the
everywhere.
eagles are trained to go fishing for them, and they just drop off. dive bomb fish onto this village. And I'm like, what a genius idea.
So cool.
sick,
What a
man.
fun and cool way to set this tribe of apes apart from every other tribe in there. Is they just train birds to hunt for them. That's fucking rad. And they've got like the hatchery or the what's the name for a bird? Aviary.
Aviary.
Yeah. They've got the aviary up there, and of course his mom's like, you got to go tell your dad, all this stuff. And he's
I like the
"All
birds
right."
gotta fuck with them too.
The
Like,
bird
the
don't
bird
like
just gives
him.
him a little dip.
They have, of course, his dad is like the master bird trainer, eagle trainer, and he's like, they do the cool hum thing where they like sing to the birds and all this stuff, and they know him and so we've established basically that they have to bond with their egg, and then when the egg hatches, it sees them as sort of the mother or the father figure. I don't know how you want to define that, and then you train the bird from there, and of course Noah's got his finally, but he's being haunted by the echo. This echo that they meet in the woods, who is we don't know who it is. Turns out it's going to be May later or Nova, depending on how you want to call her. Love a little callback to Nova, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that or not. They just beat you over the head with it. It's not hard.
I liked it though. I mean, like just to explain it for people, they call the girl Nova, but then they explain that they call all the little humans Nova,
Novas.
which like Nova's from the original movies and stuff. And I love that because it's like it kind of explains away like some weird plot holes and like just connectivity between the other between movies. And I think that was a smart call.
I loved the line delivery from Raka though, being like, "Oh, we'll call her Nova. That's what we call everyone."
Yeah.
Call them all Nova. At night, of course, he hears Noah hears a sound in the little smoke shop that they got in there. He goes in, he gets assaulted by May. May runs, but his nest is his egg has now been
Are they
smashed.
selling like hookahs? Or there? What do they sell there? Little pipes in the smoke shop?
Well, it's that they smoke.
They're
the
at
fish.
vaping now.
You got to smoke the fish out a little bit, get them high before they go down. So he's like,
just heartbreaking
Yeah.
when you see the drips, and I was like, oh fuck, did he get like stabbed or hit or whatever? And it's the egg, and I was like, oh, I'm like very invested in this movie considering
Yeah.
it's 10 minutes in or whatever.
Yeah.
so he has a quick powwow with his friends, and they're like, you got just tell your dad, he'll make an exception for you. And he's like, no, I'll have to wait a whole other year. I got to go out right now, and I
Dude.
got to find another egg.
No, he doesn't say that. He says that without saying it. What he says is, he goes, like, you're, like, he's your dad. And he goes, yes. And I am his son.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, that is so badass.
Harder on me than anyone else.
Yeah.
So cool.
So off we go. He takes his horse and goes out after. When he does, though, he encounters another horse. Well, actually, I think before this, the dad had sent his general. I can't remember the guy's name, but to go and hunt down the echo or chase the echo off. They call these echoes. Humans are called echoes, which is a kind of a haunting thing to call.
Yep.
Cool term.
The human beings, it's just
Very
echoes. They normally don't stray this far in. We don't know why they're here. He gets sent off, of course, as Noah goes to find his egg. He encounters the soldier who is dead, and his dying words are, "There's more of them." And what do we see?
And
We
it's
see
the
this-
dude who dapped them up earlier.
It was the
Yeah.
dude that died.
And that's what, like, oh shit, no, already? Like, I wanted that guy to
The
be more of a
warrior
character.
guy, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Action kicks off here, of course. Noah goes to hide. We see a gang of bigger apes that are coming in that have iron sort of masks on them that are all rusted through. And you have to think that you get one little scratch with that thing, you're getting tetanus. And it's
Yeah.
gonna
I
be
was
pretty
thinking
bad.
at the end
Yeah.
on
All the
like, ship
rust,
thing,
are
I
you
was
kidding?
like,
There's
dang.
just tetanus everywhere in this place. And I'm pretty sure apes are susceptible to tetanus as well because they're so close to us in DNA. What I will say is cool is that whoever did the props for this, it was awesome that LucasArts let them use the electric wands from
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker. That's pretty cool.
Well,
I
it
was
looked like
thinking
Cal
the-
Kestis' lightsaber.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, and I was thinking the TSAs or TVA,
Oh,
Yeah, the pruners.
not the TSA.
TSA.
I love these things, and man, this whole sequence is beautifully shot. I love how dark it is, and you see things just light up from these like freaking shock sticks, essentially.
Cattle prods,
and
basically,
yeah. And my God, like there's a real sense of tension and fear. Like seeing this guy immediately die and saying there's more of them, and having Noah like hide, and the way it's all kind of revealed, and these guys with the masks, it's scary. It's cool. Like it doesn't just feel like, oh, there's another group out there. Like it's not like we've been watching Mad Max a lot. It's not like, oh, there's marauders. It's like, oh no, there's another faction
doing
out
something.
there. It's pretty sick.
And then the horse reveal kind of.
Yeah, the horse
being like,
reveal's
oh,
hilarious.
fuck, the fucking horse is like going to reveal where I'm at.
Casually, like, just
Yeah.
strolls in, like, hey guys, what's going on?
the animation on his face of him being like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
see it looks great.
And also just the realization that and this is, I think, again, smart writing for me, right? Is first off, I want to shout out the design of the cattle prods that have little triggers
Triggers almost?
triggers
Yeah.
on them that pull this way, and then they're they have a wire running to a battery. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but a battery that's sitting sort of here, and that's why when he steals it, it gets ripped, and so he can't make it work because there's no power source for it. But then he figures that out later. And in my brain, I'm like, how did these apes figure this technology out? Maybe there's a human working for them, and I was right.
Wow.
But I think the smart part about it is not. You should be my actor. I'm a great writer. The smart part about this scene that I thought was cool is I was like, I wonder if they could like cattle prod the horse and follow the horse back. I thought that. I was like, I wonder if that's. And the guy was like, bah, follow the horse. I'm like, of course, because the horse would know how to go home.
Yeah, dude.
And then the shock and like the fear in Noah's face of being like, shit, they're gonna beat me back. And then of course, sure enough, he runs out. When he comes over the hill, his entire village is on fire.
I mean, I'm going to be annoying with this. Another great shot. Like, I just feel like back to back, we're just getting these amazing shots, which like the other movies had as well. Like, I feel like that's like a big part of what makes these movies special is that they care about the landscapes and seeing how things have changed over time. But seeing him kind of run up the hill and everything seeming tense and scary, but it's like, oh, he's going to get there. And he makes it over and it's like, oh, you're already too late.
So late.
Like, this is already bad.
They have lit the entire village on fire. Now, at one point, Noah runs in. This is just chaos, fog of war, all that stuff. And his mom's like, "Get your dad. Your dad's up there in the hatchery, sort of letting all the birds go." And of course, you gotta think about this, right? Are eagles smart or are they dumb? Because Andy,
I think they're really dumb.
Because if I put a blindfold on you, would you just stay in one place for the rest of your life?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know how different eagles and Pomeranians are.
Yeah,
but if I put a blanket on Moose, he's just dead.
Turns out they're exactly the same.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're descended from eagles.
But what are these eagles supposed to do if they can't see?
Just sit there and burn to death, I guess.
Like,
Well, first off, they were also
and they're
tethered.
chained,
Yeah, they were also tethered. So his dad's up there, and his dad's taking all the blinders off the eagles and untethering them, and they're flying away. He gets attacked by the big general here, and I wish I knew this character's name, but they don't have it filled out on IMDb yet.
When he
So
walks in that room.
that dude, awesome.
Yeah, man.
This is the bad guy of the movie for me because he's just this menacing, hulking figure. We get this fight, and just Noah and his dad get the shit beat out of him.
When Noah, like, it reminds me of, like, some of the scenes that kind of scare you the most in, when Hulk is freaking out and, like, going through his shit in Avengers 1. Like, those moments where they're in that little tiny confined space and Noah is just on top of these little, like, raised platforms or whatever. And this dude just, like, bursting through all of the platforms to try to get to him. It's like, you feel the tension in that room,
Definitely.
And this dude, this gorilla, he looks like a gorilla. Yeah. Like, I was just so impressed by every time he did something. I'm like, damn, they nailed that gorilla move. Like, that's really cool.
That's a good gorilla move.
That's a good gorilla move.
Illa, apes, apes, apes. This he moves like a gorilla. Illa, apes, apes, apes.
Give him a banana.
They're making Zelda, but he could be making Donkey Kong.
He could be making both. We don't know. Cinematic universe. There it is. Noah gets shocked off of one of these little, like a cable. I also I want to give a shout out to the fact that they have built up their sort of village on like high tension wire, like towers. These are like power towers, right? That have gone down, but this infrastructure is still there, so they can just build around the metal, which is cool. Great, cool design, cool production design. Noah gets blasted off this thing, falls presumably to his death, and then it goes to black. And this is my favorite shot in the movie. We get sort of a ground up shot of the tower that he's just fallen from, and then a rack focus to his face as he's coming back to life and kind of comes over toward the camera and falls off whatever the little ledge he was just on. He wakes up, of course, his dad's dead, everyone's gone. And he realizes, I have to go after them and save my village.
Dude, the moment where he's hovering over his dad's body and, like, he starts to break down, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that hit me real good. And it's mainly a lot of the great job that these facial capture artists and all these animators have getting those emotions through the motion capture. All those little dots on the actors' faces, like, went translated so freaking perfectly. It looked incredible.
Yeah, it's like a moment where, because it felt like that clan was very innocent to the point of maybe naive, where they just did not expect to be besieged by another clan. So when you see it happening, it's like, oh, this is an adult basically beating up a kid. Yep. And then in that moment where his dad's dead, you can see his, like, struggle, and he realizes that it's all different now. He realizes what world he truly is in. Yeah. And it's, like, bad.
I mean, they touch on it later of him just being like, they led me wrong. Like they
Yeah.
they taught me that everything was okay and that this is where the world ended. And it's like there's so much more and it's so scary out there. And I'm like that's so backed up by this scene. And it's just very, very cool to see.
I think this is the part for me too where there's the biggest jump from the last one that we watched in 2001, where so many of those characters, even like we could tell that it was Paul Giamatti. You can tell that it's all of these people.
Yes, you fucking could.
And that's so distracting. And this one, like, we don't really know anybody in this movie except for William H. Macy, at least for me. And so I think the fact that we're not distracted by the actor that they're being played by, like, really just builds into this character. Like, there's no distraction.
Although I did miss Steve Zahn. Would have loved for Steve Zahn to come back somehow. I loved his ape character. And was it Rise or
Oh,
Dawn?
he's the best.
War?
Bad ape.
Yeah.
Bad ape.
I want to give a shout out to, and I did not. I was trying to place the entire time who was voice acting for Proximus Caesar. And I was like, that sounds familiar, but it could be anyone with. He has a deep, gravelly sort of voice. And the actors that I had in mind were nowhere close to the actor who it was. It was an actor named Kevin Durand.
Kevin Durant?
Not the football
Not
player,
Durant,
not the basketball.
Durand, who I know he's been in a bunch of TV and a bunch of movies, but I know him as the guy that played Fred Dukes or the Blob in Wolverine X-Men Origins.
Oh.
No shit.
That is that guy, yeah. Which is wild that he got this. He's great in this.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's great.
So when the sequel to X-Men Origins Wolverine comes out,
Oh yeah.
We're
It's
in
gonna
it.
be Deadpool. Who knows?
so off we go on our adventure here, right? Papa's dead, Dumbledore's dead, Obi-Wan's dead. We're now set off on our own.
He does have one companion that we should probably mention. The eagle.
Oh,
His
the eagle.
His dad's
Right,
eagle.
Right.
The
And
eagle
his
that they're
dad's
setting
eagle
up.
has basically hated him the entire time. He's like, every time he tries to interact with it, it like bites him or scratches him. But
It's one of those like you haven't earned this. Like I'm gonna peck
it's,
you.
it's
every once
called
in a while.
Eagle Sun, I think it's called. And
Yeah.
it looks like it's like orangey, so it looks like a sun. But he's there as well, hanging around. It's like,
How badly do you want to pet an eagle's like chest?
Oh,
You know, they
man,
do
I
the
wanted to
little
do
chest
that.
thing.
I'm like, not at all.
Just
Really?
the, like
Me
the
neither.
backhand
Backhand
pet.
pet? Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
backhand surf.
I used to have an owl at school.
Really?
Yeah.
Did
had
it
an
poop out of
owl.
its
You went to
mouth?
Hogwarts?
Sounds like a
Basically,
hoot.
Did
yeah.
it
so
poop
like,
out of its mouth?
I always thought that's how owls poop.
No, I
They
don't
vomit
think
a
so.
pellet.
Yeah.
Vomit a pellet with it's full of like bones and hair and stuff their body can't
Oh.
digest.
Interesting.
have a
We-
bubble?
Science with Kev.
It's
Owl
me.
facts.
Kev, can you find out if owls have buttholes?
They
yeah.
do, but I think they call them cloacas.
Yeah, they shit and poop out of the same
that what
hole, just
chickens
like a
have
bird.
too?
But we used to have to
Yeah.
dissect owl pellets, and when I was in like
Oh,
first or
yeah.
second grade, because you find little mice bones and shit in it.
Ooh.
It's it's wild.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
with that
just
for a
love this
second.
little fucker. It just keeps on following
I do
around
too, and I
everywhere.
love specifically the moment. I think it's here before we get to meet Raka, where he tries to get it to land on its arm, and then it scratches him, and he goes, "Fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you, man."
Yeah, he's like, fuck
I do
yeah.
remember those owl pellets now that you say that.
Yeah, think about it.
In science class.
Think about
Think
it.
about it, everybody.
Mull that over. I do love the next shot. By the way, we have a great bit of visual storytelling here, where he comes to the tunnel, the train tracks that he and his previous friends, when they were younger, were daring each other to get close to get the mom's blanket back, and now he has to just muster up the courage and go into the darkness, the literal and metaphorical darkness of the unknown. Very, very cool. We come out the other end. And this is where we start exploring. And before we started this movie, Tim's like, where do you think they're going to be geographically?
Well, so that was the
In
thing, because
California.
the first movie was San Francisco, and then they kind of went up north a little bit towards the end, and then they're in Muir Woods, right? And they're like in Marin. But then, if I remember correctly, War, which was the third movie, that was more than working down the coast.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought War was in like Tahoe. Wasn't it snowy?
Yeah. Oh, you're right, actually. Fuck, I don't know why I thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
they
I
were
think they
moving
went
down.
north.
You're right, it was
like
Tahoe,
Tahoe,
because there was
Reno.
the lake, yeah.
Because that was like the last bastion of the stronghold
yeah.
of humans.
Whatever it was, at maybe some point I heard that this one was going to be Los Angeles, because like it was the poster that you see here
Yeah.
was like on the screen in front of me and Nick, and I don't know those buildings, so Nick being from SoCal, I was
Yeah.
like, is this a place that we should know? Like, is this identifiable? And then almost immediately it's like, oh, this is LAX.
Yes.
Very cool.
So he falls into what you think might be a
What?
mall.
Tipped you off that it was LAX because I
There's like the
mural.
mural,
The mural? Okay.
was the first time that I was like, oh, I've seen that at an airport, but I didn't know which one.
Got it.
And then there's like the big shot we get where we see that weird like
It's the
UFO tower.
I
looking
see
thing.
that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tower restaurant. I can't remember what that is at LAX, but
I don't know what
it's
it
the
is.
iconic sort of UFO looking sort of
Yeah.
outstretched tarantula structure that's in the
Yep.
middle of a parking lot for LAX. Yeah. He falls through the window here. and this is where we meet Raka, who thinks he's one of the bad guys who killed his friend, but he's not, and they're going to become fast friends. And I love that there's always a wise orangutan somewhere around here.
He's the Han of this movie, man.
the Han of this movie.
Immediately endearing.
Yeah.
100%.
When it comes to acting and line delivery and the things that this person has to say, and pointing at the ape that has already been fully burned and it's just bones on this pile of fire, and being like, he used to be my whole world. You know,
my
like,
family,
God
whatever.
damn, that shit was incredible, man.
I think the actor's name is Peter Macon, and I think the character's name is Raka, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That is the one character they have listed here on IMDb, and if I'm not mistaken, he was also the Worf-like character on the Orville, which I really liked him in.
Oh,
Y'all never
I heard
watched
the Orville was good.
But first seasons 1 and 2 are good.
I heard a lot
I'll
of
talk
like
about
really
season 3.
surprisingly good things about it.
It was one of the for a long time. It was one of the best Star Trek shows on TV.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't technically a Star Trek show. So here he's like, I got these things called books, and this is where humans used to keep all their cool ideas. And he's like, I don't know how to read this because it's upside down. And then off we go over.
Dude, this movie kicks so much fucking ass
Yeah.
because like I'm just thinking about it now of like they introduced the Rocket character to be able to like, explain to Noah like what's been going on and like catch him up on what the world actually is, but introducing the concept of books and them talking about the symbols, and these symbols mean something, and it's how they like pass things down. And then later when they read the book and they see the apes in the cages and all that stuff, it's like,
And also
man, it's just, again, it's a Kung Fu Panda ass movie. It all just works very well.
Also, the pendant, like the symbols have meaning, is like super important for the pendant he gets. So in the opening scene where they're burning Caesar, there's a symbol above
It's like a
his,
cross
like,
or
it's
like
like
a-
yeah. And then Raka has a necklace with that symbol because he's all about the original like intention and
Don't lose their vision.
mythology of Caesar. Yeah, so it's
right,
not
and then
perverted.
that symbol comes back at the end as well to see on the big boat.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Proximus
yeah.
has it like on the side
It's
of
so
the
cool,
ship.
man. Like essentially, it is the cross of Jesus Christ, but it's for Caesar. And
Jesus Christ.
there you go. But I also love that this Raka character being an orangutan, and the orangutan character from the other movies, right, being this kind of character that really was Caesar's like right hand guy. And he's the last character we've really seen in the last movie. Like the movie kind of ends with him kind of talking, right? Like Caesar's dead, but we see Caesar's kid, who we had kind of assumed this movie was going to be with, and it's just straight up
100%,
not.
yeah.
Like he's not in the movie at all. But I do love the like vague allusion to like this Rocket character and that orangutan potentially were related. You know, like there could have been some lineage there because the way that they interact, and also the fact that we see the original orangutan in the funeral scene in the beginning. Thought that was really cool.
The next one's gonna have somehow Caesar has returned. The daughter's gonna
Caesar
be,
lives.
The daughter's gonna be Noah,
God.
fucking Caesar or something.
What they're actually setting up here is very close to a Metal Gear Solid movie where Caesar is big boss.
Holy
and now they
shit.
got liquid Caesar, solid Caesar, and so like
Caesar, baby.
and the bad guy in this was basically Solidus Caesar.
Solidus, yeah, he really was.
From here, Raka's like, maybe my journey is to go with you. He's very spiritual. He's sort of a little bit of a priest.
Yeah,
or a Templar or something.
He's kind of sending him off, right? And then we see the Echo trying to, first off, great little comedic beat here of them looking up and being like, oh, what's up with this eagle? And being like, oh, the eagle follows me everywhere. It's like, oh, the eagle follows you? That's really sick. And we see the Echo, who eventually we find out is May, who is looting from Noah's horse, like wherever you keep the food in there, like here's where all of my little food is for the journey. We see May looting from him, like trying to peace out and leave. And he's like, oh, that's a fucking Echo. Hey, come back, And he's like, oh, she's been following me everywhere. He's like, the human follows you, like the Echo follows you too? Like, goddamn. This shit's crazy. I just love this little moment. And then he really wants to learn from this Echo and being like, come back. We don't mean harm. We're not trying to hurt you. She pieces out. And then Noah's like, I gotta leave. And then he's like, I got a horse too. Don't worry about it.
And this is such a nitpicky, weird fucking thing. But literally, the one thing I dislike about this movie is this scene where he's just like, I mean, I like the scene, but where it ends off, where he's like, I'm getting on my horse, I'm gonna go, and he's like, I have a horse too. And then there's a cut, and then we see them coming over like a mountain, and we see Noah on the horse, and then we see Raka on the horse, and I'm like, that felt like it deserved like something cooler.
I thought it was going to be a comedic beat where we see Noah's horse is normal and then Raka's riding a little tiny
horse.
pony.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think that, but it needed something. Like it just, I felt like maybe if he didn't have a horse, but he had a different way to move or something. They just brought too much attention to I have a horse too with the edit that I'm like that just didn't work for me. But again, nitpicky as shit.
Fair enough. As we move right along, they set up camp, and when they do, they notice that the Echo is once back, and Rocca's like, they get cold because they're not covered in fur, and so he wants to give Noah his mother's blanket, and Noah's like, all right,
Starts
fine.
tossing her
He
fruits.
starts tossing her fruits, and then they just are like, man, I'll tell you what, human beings, stinky.
Dumb as shit.
They're just
Real
stinky
stinky.
pinky. And he's like, ooh, the smell is palatable, I think is what is the term
Yeah.
he used. Shout out to Freya Allen, this young actress who was the main character in this from this point forward. Great job.
Great job.
Yeah.
Acting like feral for the first part of it, and then flipping the switch, and you're like, "Oh shit, that was all an act." Like,
Didn't
even
see
the
it
rating
coming.
and all these things,
No, no,
like she's
Genuine
acting like a
surprise.
wild animal. In reality, she's actually
Yeah.
highly educated and on a mission.
Because they have that thing in the previous one where the virus made humans dumb.
Yeah.
Or like it basically ruined them because we had Woody Harrelson ending with like becoming that.
Unable to
So,
speak.
yeah. And
Yeah.
since then, it's advanced to the point where the roles have reversed, where humans are basically dumb apes at this point. So
Yeah, all those little lines of comedy of like, oh, they're fucking idiots. Like, but she's smarter than most. Like, I could tell that like she's perceiving things just like we do. And it's so cool to hear them speak this way.
Yeah.
And I love the character of Rocca and how he's written, because while he is wise, we know that he is still dumb in some areas, right?
Yeah.
Where he's just talking about them like they're pets, but how you would talk about a smart pet, but still a pet. Like, when someone's got a golden retriever, you're like, man, they're just the smartest like dog I've ever had. You're like, well, you still see them as a pet.
Yeah.
But he's still
Yeah.
viewing these humans as like
Well,
other.
I mean, I think that's what they are, right? Like, I mean,
That's been his experience up until this point, right? Is that we meet another group of wild humans, and so for me, I was like, that's
and
a
they
little
act like
confusing.
antelope.
Yeah.
Like that shit was crazy when they see
Yeah.
the noise and they all get up from the little watering thing. It was
Right.
like, this looks like I'm watching a nature documentary with humans as the wild animals.
I do want to give a shout out to the fact that all of the humans are covered in shit and don't look like they just walked out of a salon. That was
yeah.
smart.
That was great. Yeah, as opposed to last week's.
Where Estella Warren just
You're right.
looks amazing all the time.
Maya does come out looking a bit too good, if you know what I mean. She looks movie hot, which is like, yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, let's dirty up Tomb Raider a bit.
Why,
you know
why
what I
can't we
mean?
get like an Uggo walk out and be like, oh.
I mean, we'll get to it at the end, but like it is hilarious
Because-
that when we
let's just get to it right now, because
Yeah.
she's from a group of human beings that are all supermodels.
just smoking
Yeah.
hot, like they get to the final
Insane
human
shows.
building, and it's like, what are we doing?
First
here?
lady answers the door. I was like, damn, she looks like Giselle.
from,
And then the
uh,
They're
next
from
lady that's-
Severance.
Severance, yeah.
Oh,
And also,
nice.
I want to say Altered Carbon.
But a part of
So
me
she
was,
was in
I was like,
Altered
wait,
Carbon.
is this like Why the Last Man? Because they go in and all you see is just smoke show like 30-year-old women. And I'm like, what's happening here? And then there's like
Oh,
one
we
dude,
got
I was
some
like, oh,
dudes.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dudes at a computer, like,
But I honestly thought it was going to be like, I thought it was going to be a red herring, where a literal red herring, because the disc she brings back is red, where she pops in the thing and it's like, oh, this is actually like how you solve the fact that we can't have kids anymore or something where like that. Like,
Yeah.
no men are
Hot
born
people
ever.
are.
because they say it's a book that will give humans their voice back
Yes.
at one point, and people are like, oh, okay.
And it ends up just being, well, spoilers for the end, it just ends up being a way to communicate with the rest of
Yeah. I was
civilization,
like,
which is cool.
they also say, like, at one point, they're like, Noah's like, a book can do that? And I was
Yeah.
like, I would love it if they get in there and it's an iPad.
That's what I thought it was too. I thought it was going to be a laptop or an iPad. And it's like, hello,
Yeah.
Andy.
We're
I've been waiting for you.
reinstating the internet.
I think it ended up being like as soon as like she's going to these server rooms. Well, we're at the end of the movie now. Never mind. We'll
That's fine.
keep on going.
We'll talk about that later
Yeah.
too, but it threw me off a little. I had to think about it for a second. I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be the cure to whatever it was. Because when she shows up and she's not allowed in because they're all in the masks, I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be the cure. But I guess theoretically they're still trying to figure out the cure with the rest of the world
Yeah.
and coordinate. Then you begs the question, hey, motherfuckers, have you not seen that episode of The Walking Dead with Terminus? Do we not know that human beings should not be talked to in this universe? Because we are. Have you seen The Road? Everyone's dangerous. Why are you opening up lines of communication? I digress. It's a movie.
It is a movie, yeah.
We move along. We find the herd of antelope human beings, and they're so beautiful. And it's like, May, and she's like, I don't want to fucking go with them. Okay, those people are stinky, and they don't understand what the hell's going on. And then, of course, they're attacked by Proximus's gang.
But I love this though. Like, there's a great moment where the movie makes us fall in love with this Rocket character, and then he's just like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay with them. Like, you need to go.
Yeah.
May's here. She clearly doesn't really kind of want to, but like, I'm really into humans, so I want to
Yeah.
kind of. I
I'm
want
gonna
to
train them
with
up.
them
And
see
these
what's
horses
up.
with stripes.
And the horses with stripes.
That was cool.
That was the Last of Us giraffe moment.
Yeah.
Like that was
like,
so
whoa.
cool.
What are those, man?
Zebra. What
I thought that was awesome. And like, yeah, him leaving, and I was so bummed that we were losing Raka there, but I was also like, he'll be back in a sequel. But then he's back right immediately.
Immediately back because we're off on a chase. We get the Jurassic Park moment of the velociraptors through the high grass.
Awesome.
Where May is being, and she has only one chance to survive this, as the other apes are desperately searching for her and closing in. She sees Noah and she knows she has to break character, and she screams out, "Noah!" And he's like, "What? You can
Whoa,
talk?
she can talk."
What the hell?" And we get the cool moment where he starts riding toward her as the other apes are riding toward her.
damn.
And I was like, "This is gonna be sick."
Kicks ass.
The Legend of Zelda,
This
man. I'm
movie
telling you.
kicks
Yeah.
fucking
Right.
ass.
This is so-
man.
And we got everything. We got
Fast
horses.
and Furious cars.
Yeah.
it is exactly
Jumping.
like that.
Great moment. He kicks off the big ape, and off we go. And then we rendezvous back up with Raka.
Which, by the way, when the ape, like, I was like, that gorilla's taking down the whole horse.
Yeah, exactly.
The gorilla is buckling underneath the weight of this, like, 1,000-pound fucking horse.
Oh,
Like,
I
this-
just think about him hanging off of May's foot.
Yeah,
Like,
that
gonna
foot is
pull
coming
fucking
off.
thing off.
Yeah, this whole sequence was so badass. I thought I loved. I love leading into it before we see this sort of discovery of what the fuck that's a horse with stripes. What the hell is this? Like, this world is way bigger than we thought it was, and we just kind of started on this journey. And then to see the humans just grazing in the water with these fucking with the zebras. Also weird that like they know to like cover up their boobs. I thought that was weird.
I thought that too,
Just
but
like-
it's a movie.
Yeah, it's got to be PG-13. You can't have a bunch of nudity, but like at this point, it would just be humans.
Dick
like,
out.
They'd
yeah,
just be dicks
Yeah.
out.
Wieners out.
Yeah, for sure. Weens.
But the I did love that sort of first moment where she's on the horse behind Rocco with her arms behind him. It's just like, oh, this is
Yeah.
adorable. I want this group to stay together
There's
forever.
also a really good tension building shot, the overhead shot when they're in the crop field.
Yeah, that's the
And like,
Jurassic Park one.
yeah, that one. I've not seen the Jurassic Park stuff in ages, so I was
Also-
like, oh, okay, that's really cool.
So Lost World like really sucks
Yeah.
quite a bit, but that they
has
have
that
the
one
top down shot of the person walking with the four like
Raptors coming in,
velociraptors
yeah,
in
yeah.
the grass,
Yeah.
and you see the trail they leave
Yeah,
behind.
it's exactly
They stole that
It's
shot
really
too
good.
for Alien Covenant as
Oh.
well, or not Alien Covenant. Yeah, Alien Covenant, where like one person's in the tall grass and you see an alien like come, like two aliens like
that's
coming
sick.
at him.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
This whole sequence is badass.
It's
But
very
yeah,
good.
the tension that I feel when in those moments of the stillness, when Noah is finally yelled out and Noah's like, what the fuck? She can talk? And then you're looking at the gorillas there too. They're like, nobody knows what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
And then she just starts to
Starts running,
book it.
yeah.
Oh my God, man. When he starts getting into his full speed,
Yep.
it's terrifying, man.
Did you replace the horse with Epona, Link, and
Dude,
Princess
I'm
Zelda?
telling you, man. It's like literally, it's from Twilight Princess on the Bridge of Eldon when
Yeah.
you do the charge at each other
Right.
on the horse. I'm like, this is amazing, and then we'll get to it in a second. But there's a very literal bridge moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good bridge moment too. Great scene, but we're not quite there yet. Before where he's like, yo, what's going on? And I do want to touch on Andy's like the costuming in this. Right, is one of those things that stuck out to me. I was like, why is she wearing like normal pants?
Yeah.
Yeah, granted they're tattered and they're torn, but she looks like she's wearing a normal shirt, like a normal crop top, and a normal, or like tank top rather, and then normal pants. I was like, that's a bad costume design. And then it turns out, oh wait, no,
Yeah.
you
Perfect
are.
costume
Yeah.
design.
You're actually, you're from a highly evolved group of humans that dress like we would dress.
This movie's got a lot of what reminds me of my experience watching the HBO Watchmen series, where you're like,
Yeah.
you have a question and it gets answered.
Yeah,
Except for the slippery mirror guy who slipped into the gutter of the Watchmen TV
No,
show.
they answered that. That was the partner.
Did they? Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
right?
Where was
all
there a
answers.
mirror in
Like
this
super-
movie?
No, the lube guy.
Yeah, Luke
Yeah,
guy.
Luke guy.
Remember he was all over himself?
I also like to think of that Watchmen series because Gene Smart's in both as a prequel to Hacks.
Which is back, baby.
Fucking great. I'm caught up. It's so good. Anyway,
That was
off
a
we go.
Pop-Tart movie. We loved it.
No, Hacks is
Unfrosted?
good.
Oh, gotcha.
Hacks
I
is
thought you were going to
legitimately
go
good.
on a Pop-Tart thing. Yeah, yeah.
Whoa. Unfrosted might be the comedic movie of the year for me. I laughed so hard during that dumb movie, all 2 hours of that dumb movie. Cameos galore. Melissa McCarthy proving once again why she is the GOAT. Throwing that up against the wall, seeing what sticks.
How many times have you watched Unfrosted?
Just once, but I plan on watching it a lot more.
Mike saw it twice.
You won't see Challengers, but I'll watch the Unfrosted.
I'll tell you
movie.
exactly why I won't see Challengers. Because in Frosted, I sat down and I opened up Netflix and it beats you over the head with, "Hey, we're here," and I'm like, "Cool, just press play on that. That's easy peasy. Order some rooster and rice and let's do it." We get a nice little scene here where she's like, she lies to him. She's like, "I'm from a human, I could talk or whatever." And then we get the scene with the telescope, which is cool, where he's like, "What the fuck is this? This thing that can capture light?"
Oh, that's
You realize-
before she can talk.
Yeah, before
We
that.
missed that. Yeah, yeah.
sorry.
What an
But it looked
amazing
great.
sequence here. They get to the observatory or whatever the hell it's called. That we just
You
saw
imagine it's the
something.
Griffith Observatory, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Follow it. The scene of them, the monkey, kind of like touching, seeing what's up, and then putting the eye on it, and the face he makes when he sees the stars.
The zoom in of those eyes.
It's so incredible, and they don't show us the stars. They don't
Yeah.
show us what he's looking at, and I was like, "Holy crap, that was beautiful. That was amazing." And then we see May do it, and then we see the two other monkeys see her see it, and they see her face change, and they talk about that. I was like, "This is some
Yeah.
next level shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
That's-
stuff."
That's when they realize she's intelligent.
yeah, to have
She's
Raka
like-
be like, she
yeah,
perceives
reacted.
shit.
She
Yeah.
reacted the way we did. So, yeah.
But not only
That's
that,
so
it goes to
good.
back up the fact that, Noah thought his world was so small. Now he's realizing, especially after Rocco was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, they could fly, they could do all these cool things," and he's realizing, holy shit, he was right. Like,
Yeah.
there's like a space and all this stuff. It's just breaking his brain.
I
I want to
also,
watch this movie.
I also love that he looks at it and is like, "What the fuck?" And he goes onto the other side.
Yeah.
And is like,
Yeah.
"What's going on this side?"
Part of me was like, "Are you gonna clean that off?"
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought so too.
I thought I was gonna see a little spit.
Because he's got that little cool hawk rag that he has on. They all have on their hands.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
eagles can land. We go off, and this is where we get to the bridge. This is a great sequence where R.I.P. Raka. I guess. Am I the only person that thought Raka was gonna come back to save
I
him
thought
at
he
the
was gonna
end?
come
Yeah.
back.
Well, here is the thing, everybody. Our boy's coming back in the next movie. We did not see a confirmed kill,
Yeah.
but I love it though because we saw pretty much everything up to that, and I feel this sequence was just beautifully done. Him getting passing the necklace,
the necklace.
to him to be the symbol that keeps him going. Fucking perfect. Everything about this was great. The tension of the two bad guys on the sides of the bridge
The
colliding
monkeys
with them.
underneath.
Yeah.
The monkeys
Apes,
underneath.
sorry.
The action scenes of like the way that this was shot and the choreography of it all. Perfect scene to me.
He also jumps into the water to save May.
Yeah.
And so it's like that sacrifice combined with like the final moment where Noah's looking at him. It's like a very Mufasa Simba moment where it's like
Together strong.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
where it's like together strong. That was the moment like crystallized that I need to get my people. I need to get my monkeys back.
And it's especially good when you consider the fact that, as we discovered last week's, apes may or may not be able to swim.
You're right.
That's
You're
true.
right. We
They
think
didn't
can,
like water
we
in the
also
last
think
movie.
can.
Yeah.
They
I
were
thought they
terrified
confirmed
about
they
it.
can in fact swim, and then there's footage from like 2013 of the first time
Doctor.
them recording them.
We did
Okay.
see a horse swim also.
Horses
I don't know if that
Horses
helps.
swim, yeah.
And a
Did you know
monkey
that?
swam for the first time in 2013.
Kate,
Turns out no one
And
tried to
apes?
teach him
What
before
the
that.
fuck?
What have they been doing all this time?
I'm trying to teach him sign language the entire time. I should have been teaching him fucking basic survival skills. This is a great sequence. They get, of course, taken back to now the empire, or the burgeoning empire of Proximus Caesar. That's built out of a very, very rusty old ship that has collided with the shore and is now
Tetanus
halfway.
everywhere, yeah.
Tetanus fucking everywhere.
So, where is this?
The beach, probably Santa Monica or somewhere over there.
Because like they're like, all right, this is where the human settlement was. Like when the government, like when everything
Yeah.
was going bad, the government came here and like locked in. And I'm just like, where would
It's
they
a dam.
go? Yeah, but like I don't know. I thought it was like
It doesn't make a lot of sense, and I'll tell you why. Because they built this vault door on the beach, which any scientist worth a
I wonder-
shit would have been like, should put that in the mountains because of
Yeah.
the globe.
Yeah.
The beach wears
Do you
away
think it's
eventually.
like Pendleton or like one of those like
No,
marine
because
bases?
I think it's got to be LA because we
Yeah.
can't go from LAX to like San Diego or to like you know what I mean? Like that would have been like a 5-day or 7-day
you're
ride
right.
for them. So
And they didn't
geographically-
arrive there looking like super famished, like they were like
No,
not
they walked.
eating for a week or some shit.
So
Yeah.
I have to imagine in the, and correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, because you know more about LA than I do, but LAX is closer to the shore. You
Correct.
could actually probably walk from LAX to the beach probably in a day or two. But then the Griffith Observatory is like way on the other side of LA. So this, I guess we're just playing it. We're going
That's
off
what
traffic.
Of,
Think about that.
Yeah.
true, fair.
Mm-hmm.
We're going off of Rock rules here, right? Where you, of course, remember historically the chase scene in The Rock goes from all over San Francisco.
Yeah.
Every turn, they're just in a different part of San Francisco.
Oh.
It's a movie. Suspend your disbelief.
It's like when Greg had that issue with one of the X-Men movies.
It was the one where Beast was banging the mangoes.
Yeah.
We cut over and we meet the whole civilization. His whole clan's there. Oh my gosh, they're being used as slave labor to not only keep this dam up, but also try to break down this massive door to this vault, which, FYI, I don't know what the fuck May was worried about. There's no way they're getting through this thing in anyone's lifetime, especially if they're trying to burn through it with gunpowder or whatever. William H. Macy as well, who is now working for the Apes. Great reveal. He's great and everything. This character, a little more closely associated with his character in Fargo and Boogie Nights, I'd say, than any other. He's kind of he's a little bit of a wuss in this.
Pushover.
Little pushover. He's like, I work for the Apes and I got this cool pad. And man, honestly, it's pretty cool. They're pretty cool to me, even though I am, in fact, still a slave to Proxima Caesar, who Noah has been called in front of. May, he's like, just be cool. We'll find a place for you. She's like, no, I have ulterior motives. We go over, we meet Proxima Caesar. And man, he's just like, hey, what a wonderful day it is. And this is the one scene where, again, we were talking about a little earlier, it kind of breaks with the animation, grounded animation. He flips up the little thing and it got a little Spider-Man-y. I'm like, I don't know about that. But then the performance, this guy turns in where he's like, oh, what a lovely day, or whatever the quote is from Furiosa. You guys are all my workers. We're building an empire. We're going to get through that door, and through that door is power. And then he tells Noah the same thing. He's like, that was where all the humans went when all of the thing came to shit, and there's power behind that door, and that's the power I'm going to use to basically make my empire. Not only that, but this human who's here is a spy, and she's been sent here to get that power back, and we got to get it before they get it. Yeah. And you kind of sympathize with them.
Totally.
Because you're like, he's not wrong.
You like rationalize it as like, do you know what evolution is? And he's like, inside that is our evolution. So you're like, okay, he's desperate to do this.
This is where his performance really shined. Like I thought the first introduction when he's on top when he's on the beach talking to all the apes, and then he's like, maybe tomorrow there'll be another blessing, or whatever the phrase he says is. But then when we're in tighter quarters, when we're at that dinner table, and it's like, sit down and eat. When he's kind of like introduced there, this is where it's like just some of the best voice acting I've heard. Like,
I love
ever.
this scene. I love this
Yeah.
scene. I think he's doing a great job here.
I also the entire time I was expecting him to be really like brutal and like rule with an iron fist and like treat the other apes really badly. But that never really happens. Like they're free to move around as they want, and no one's getting like their ass kicked, and no one's like starving or anything like that.
Well, and when Anaya, when he drops everything at the table, I thought for sure this was going to be like punishment for dominance to show Noah, like, I could fuck up your life and all of your friends, but he doesn't do that at all.
I really thought they were going to go do one of those show of force moments with just a random like ape gets their throat slit, like, get them out of here, I don't want them here.
But it really reinforces like his kind of intent, which is he wants to continue to raise apes up to remain in power. And he's not willing to. He does have an element where it's like, I personally want this. I want to be the god king of apes. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't come at the expense of others. So when they fail to open the dam, he's just like, hopefully we can do it again tomorrow, lads. Yeah. See everyone. Yeah. Have fun.
It is interesting, and I think that makes the character.
Who's the voice actor for him? Oh, you already said
it.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant.
That's right. Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Like the scene, love that he has. We've also been told at this point that Noah figured out how to reattach the stun wand to the battery pack, and so Noah's smart, and so he's like, "Look, you're smart, man. Get her to tell us how to get in there, and we can wreck shit." Yeah. And you do sympathize with him. It is a bummer that he decided to enslave other apes to be able to do this, but you understand his motivations for wanting to do this, especially since the May character as well could have very, very easily been a one-dimensional character as well. She's like, I'm just trying to save my people, but she is kind of like, she's a spy. She is a secret agent, and she has ulterior motives as well, which we are going to discover right now because she pulls him aside. Noah goes to visit her at night, and he's like, what the fuck is going on? What's in there? What's happening?
Why'd you lie to me?
Why'd you lie to me? What's going on? And it turns out that, she's like, I've been sent on a secret mission. There's this cool magic book in there that's going to be a cool server. We'll figure that out later, but I need to get that. But if he gets his hands on what's in there, he's going to be unstoppable. And then Noah goes, can it be killed? Whatever's in there, can it be stopped with water? And this is where my brain stops working, because I'm like, was the sea level high enough to flood this entire thing? Because it didn't seem like it was.
It didn't, but then it's also like, it feels like one of those things where it's like once the dam is broken, the water's got to go somewhere, and there's
But wouldn't
probably
it
enough of a
just-
decline to just get it in.
Maybe, I guess. But I'm like, wouldn't it just go high enough to equalize out with where it was at the sea level?
it is.
Or would
Yeah.
it just keep filling?
There are multiple scenes of like the sea like thrashing violently as well. So
But to me, I'm like, the damn wall is only like 8 feet tall. I needed it to be like 30 feet tall so that when the water came flooding in, it was believable that it would fill that big, long silo
Yeah.
up. Having said that, I'm sure there's a physicist right now who's like, damn it, Nick, you never studied. You know, you should understand how pressurization works and whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So she's like, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna blow this thing up. But first, I got to get in there and I got to get the thing that I came here to get. Deal. They shake hands. They go outside, recruit his lady friend and Anya. And Anya's like, I'm a coward. Oh, no, I'm not. You can't make that cool climb without me.
Then he also gets reunited with his mom.
He does.
Yeah.
And that's sweet.
and his mom's like, best to fall in line, man. Like she's like, the clan is gone.
This is his
Like,
clan now.
Yeah,
We're
it's like
his
we
now.
belong to him now. Just play your position. And he's like, no. And then I think is it her that goes, you're different now.
Yeah.
And that's the moment where you're like, oh yeah, he's seen some shit.
Yep.
He's been through some shit.
Yeah, that
Killed him
that
in
first
Tulsa.
moment of reunion where he's telling her about father, and she's like, "I know." God damn, that was so
Yeah.
good.
We start about the plan now. They start laying all these things. And who do we hear? The voice. William H. Macy from The Dark says he'll just rebuild it. He won't stop. He's like, you got to understand your way of life that you're fighting for is gone. You need to just accept this. She's like, I'm not going to accept it. You're either with us or you're not. And he's like, well, then I'm not with you. And he makes the mistake of turning his back on her. Little does he know she's taken 3 beginners jiu-jitsu courses because she jumps on his back and puts on the worst rear naked choke I've ever seen in my life. Of course, as everyone knows. Joey, let me borrow your neck for a second. When you throw a rear naked choke
Like
on
how Joe
someone,
was like,
you do
"Aw."
not want to keep your arm up like this because that is how you unwrap a rear naked choke. You want to tuck that behind the head, or you want to
doesn't
actually,
know.
if you want more,
He's
tuck
a
that in
monkey
there
man.
and do this. No, it's not her. It was the girl. It was
No,
me.
I'm saying he doesn't know. He doesn't know how to counter that.
Oh no, he's
he
got
has to
that.
do
He's
mistakes,
old as
you
hell.
know?
He's been
He's got
drinking-
broken ankles, bro.
And so you think to
Kevin
yourself,
Durant broke them.
you think to yourself, you go, maybe she just choked him out. And this is the first time where I really started appreciating this May character for being like a more deep and sort of conflicted and serious character. Is that I was like, oh, she just put him out because of course with rear naked choke you can just put someone to sleep very easily. No, they dump his body over
Into
the
the
fucking
sea.
dam. Oh, he's fucking dead.
Dude, it was
they
crazy.
killed his ass.
This scene, when it happened, I was like, oh, fuck, we went too far with this. Like, this makes no sense to me why she would do this. That seems so extreme, but it goes back to Andy's Watchmen thing. By the end of it, I'm like, okay,
Makes
no,
sense.
that's totally in line, and this does add up and make sense. But
Like
when
if
it
you're gonna be a dissenter, you're going to fucking learn.
those are the stakes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
like, it just may seem so innocent because of her demeanor, and like it's very cool that it's like, nah, dude, she's a fucking spy.
And throughout all of this, I'm also I love Tam bringing up the sort of motivations that the main villain has is like he is not this absolute brutal ruler that is going to kill anybody that has anything else to say, you know, if it doesn't align with his line of thinking. Because like this whole time I am kind of wondering, where are all the guards? Why is like they're just kind of going wherever they want right now? I would expect like, you know, fucking guard people to be on the fence and everything to be watching, but it's like they aren't even really worried about being overthrown because
Not that kind of
it's
hierarchy.
like you know, it's very similar in a way to like there's a lot of people working in the clan of Eagle Clan as well. Like this isn't really that sort of vibe, you know.
Well, that's backed up even with the mom just being like, hey, no, we're theirs now, but like we're kind of okay with it. Like,
Yeah.
we're just used to.
And she had all the little
being part of
babies there.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe whether it was War or Rise or Dawn, one of those 3, where we see like the humans are enslaving these apes, and the apes are like being abused, and there's a very different sort of tone and vibe here. Where you're right, like he's able to go talk to his mom on the coast. They're able to look up at the eagles and. Like, yeah, it sucks that they're there, but they're not being like abused on the daily, you know.
Well, I think the other thing too is that apes still have a hierarchy for like alpha.
Yeah.
And when he becomes the alpha,
Yeah.
they immediately go subservient. But also take it one step further, they've never encountered someone that even thought about rebelling before, right?
Yeah.
Noah's the first that when she's like, you're different, he's the first person who's like, we should fucking do something about this. Everyone else is like, well, I guess this is my reality now. I would be that guy. I would be like the reality guy. I'd be like, we're getting fed. Son,
Here where I'm
whatever.
at, yeah.
That William H. Macy moment's also good because it's it's the moment that puts doubt in Noah's head again, because he watches her kill one of her own, like brutally, and you can see him like really wrestling with what he just saw and what it means as Maya being an ally. And it's also important for Maya because it's like she's willing this mission,
She
and
could
the
do this
thing
to
that
anybody.
the thing that she's trying to get is so important that she had to get rid of this person who potentially could have risked the mission for her.
And it wasn't even like I'm gonna go
Yeah,
tell like
no
it-
direct threat.
Yeah, he didn't indicate at all that he was going to rat on her. He was just like, "This is going to happen, man," and then turned and walked off. And she was just like, "I'm not risking it. I'm killing this dude
witnesses, yeah.
immediately." Yeah.
Risk it to get the biscuit. They go now on the climb, which again, you want to talk about Legend of Zelda moments. Let's climb up. I'm like, does he have enough stamina to get up this wet rock? Anyway, they start climbing. She's on the
With
back.
her.
With her.
There's one moment where is it Anaya jumps on the other ape just for no reason whatsoever. I was
Yeah.
like, "Don't do that, man. You're like super high."
This is their bag, man. This is their
But they're
bag.
really good. I mean, we had that great moment with Raka earlier on being like, see, we have 4 fucking hands.
Yeah.
We can climb with anything. So if a human were to fall, you'd have no other way. But we can
Math
get our
wasn't
way
right
out of
though.
it.
He's not so good at math. He was like,
Yeah.
yeah, 4 times the. I was like, no, it's 2 times, but okay.
I did
I didn't question
enjoy.
it.
I did enjoy the obvious like laboring that Noah was going through here, carrying May on his back, because like they showed how much more exhausting it was for his.
Yeah.
We have that cool little comedic beat with the shit moment. You
Shit
know,
moment's great.
I really enjoyed that. I love them learning the word shit as well. You know,
We go up into the high area of the mountains where we have air vents, and it's one of those things where it's like, this is a design flaw, much akin
Yeah,
to
how
the original
how
Death
has
Star.
no one looked around the back?
Well,
All
I mean,
this
you
time?
probably wouldn't be able to see it from cliffside if you were like, I don't know. It doesn't make any
But
sense.
you would think there would be like a scouting group of
Well,
apes.
you would also
right?
think that the air vents that are like these massive ways into this secure facility would in fact be secured. But it turns out that rust is the ultimate equalizer. It has just taken these things down.
ape together strong. Okay,
Eight together strong. Rust together wears away.
bust together.
Tetanus. We go into this silo and she turns on the power, and it is in fact a massive, massive complex that goes many, many stories down.
Once
Also-
again, what a moment. These monkeys seeing power.
Yeah.
So cool.
Power for the first time.
Interesting that this didn't tip off everybody on the outside. It seems like that would have created
Yeah,
some
that's what
sort
I
of
thought.
commotion.
But they wouldn't have known how to go in.
Yeah,
But
Like they're waiting for them at the entrance.
Yes, that's true.
Because I immediately thought the same thing of like, these motherfuckers can smell human on a cloth. Like, how did they not? They must have felt a hum in the mountain, like all the generators turning on or whatever.
We go in, we see the daycare center. This is where we read the book where he's like, these symbols have meaning. And when they open up, the meaning, of course, is that if humans were allowed, they would put monkeys and apes in cages.
Well, they're reading that because she tells them, "You all stay here,"
Yeah.
and
he
it's
knows
like,
something's
"Ooh,
up.
what's she doing?"
What are you up to?
Yeah.
She goes into the server room, of course, and finds the MacGuffin, the thing she's been searching for, which is a drive that will allow her later in the movie to talk to other people.
The
via
sat
satellite.
rad.
Very
There's-
fucking cool piece of tech.
there's also that running motif of did or can humans and apes live side by side,
Right.
and it's never clear to Noah. He doesn't have any indication up until he sees the book when he's like, "Oh, this is how it was," and that's another thing where it's like, "Do I trust this person?"
Yeah.
Not may
So
also
you're trying to get these books back that give you your voice back, and these are the books y'all are reading.
Mm.
Yep.
Ah, it's so good.
May opens up a little armory shelf as well, or cage as well. Looks in, sees guns. Doesn't think anything of it until she gets the thing, and then looks back and goes, "I should probably take one of those guns with me." Smart. As we go back down, and we see tanks. We see all sorts of army weapons.
It's just cool,
And it's
man.
cool as shit.
The build of it all, like starting with the guns and then seeing the tanks and then be like, what are those? It's like, this is cool.
I think it's one of the coolest reveals of getting that satellite radar disc, because I legitimately thought she was looking. I thought she was trying to look for a book. Like, we're trying to like teach humans how to speak again.
yeah.
And then
I assumed it was like
all
a
of
medical thing with like an antidote.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
all of the dots start connecting. They're like, that's why her clothes don't look like raggedy ass, like
Yeah.
the antelope humans fucking drinking from the water or whatever. Like, she, oh my god, this is what she's trying to like do some. What's she gonna do with that? Who's she taking that to? Holy shit! This just opens
Great
up so
questions.
many.
And the stuff in that
Lines of
vault
questioning.
also kind of speaks to, I mean, like it's more subtle, but like reading between the lines, it also speaks to intent. Like this is where the most important people in humanity fell back and they thought it was important enough to bring guns and tanks, which means the plan is at some point to reassert dominance. And that's why I was like, oh, probably not a good thing to these apes to see.
Yeah,
especially
for
Noah.
sure.
Yeah.
Plan here starts to fall apart a little. Where she's like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open this big door that everyone's been watching for the last 2 years. We're gonna run out real quick. We're gonna blow up the dam. And
I would have taken all the guns and be like, no, this is how we eat. This is what humans used to eat food. Or
Yeah,
drink.
we just smoke out of this.
Yeah.
Whatever. We got to get to the end of this movie, of course. So the action has to be heightened here. She opens the door, and who's waiting for her? Of course, Proximus is there with his people,
Everybody.
and they're holding, his mom hostage and all these people hostage. And he's like, "Look, it's real simple. Like them or us. That's how it's gonna go. Like if you don't pick
was
us,
it his mom that they had hostage?
it might have been Andy.
No, it was his girlfriend.
Anaya.
Oh, okay.
Anaya.
Or no,
Anaya's his girlfriend.
Right, sorry. It was the girlfriend, and I forget why there was the ultimatum, but I think it was just like you got to pick, and she's
I
like,
think it was like he kind of indicates that he's very smart, and together they could like.
no, but there was something he wanted. In
Well,
there.
he's like, I want her to know. I want to know what she told you is in
Yeah.
there.
Oh, right.
Mm.
And he's like, I don't know. It's like pretty simple. Just make some shit up. This ape's gonna bleed anything.
Yeah.
It's all this is fantasy land in here. He doesn't know what the fuck any of these things are. Anyway, it doesn't matter because the tension is broken by a single shot that goes straight into the heart of the ape that is holding his girlfriend. He's what the fuck is that? Falls down to his ground. It turns out she's got a nice, cool revolver, and she's like,
Great reaction to the death too.
don't
Of
fuck
like,
around. And he's like, don't do it. And Proximus is like, don't do it. She's like, I gotta do it. She runs, boom, ignites the dam, and
he also goes, "Are there more of those in there? What's going on?" Like
Yes.
the guns. He's
Oh.
like, "I need more. Any more in here?"
the reaction to
Yeah.
this death from this leader that shows you just how the tiny amounts of like unhingedness
Yeah,
there are
psychotic,
with this
yeah.
leader of like he's not even scared that his homie
Yeah.
just got shot.
Yeah.
He he's
want
hiding behind the people, but like the look of thrill, like, oh shit,
He's
this
seeing
is
all
what
opportunity.
these are
Yeah.
the possibilities there.
And
Yeah,
going back to last week's movie, which was an abomination, but I thought one of the cooler ideas of it was the moment that guns are introduced, we're just in a whole other level. Like
Yeah.
everything has to escalate. It's going to lead to war.
The same
it's
with
going
the
to lead
previous trilogy as well. Remember when they got the guns and it was like, "Oh shit, it's
Oh
bad
shit!
now."
Yeah, but like the
Yeah.
the moment of realization here, I
Moment
just
of the
thought was just
series.
so well done. Where it's like, yeah, like you see the allure of power there of
Yeah.
like what that could turn into, and it's terrifying.
Such great like visual emoting there.
This kicks off our final action scene, the climax of this movie, where the water is coming in and we are making our way up this cool silo and all this stuff.
Well, May sets it to fucking blow.
Yeah, she blows it up and
Yeah.
the dam rushes in, and this is where I started thinking maybe it'll just fill that bottom level. But no, it starts filling the entire thing, and all of the Eagle clan. It was like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And Noah's like, Anaya, take them up. You know where they are. You know, show them the way out. So they start going up the staircase.
Nick
This-
leans over to me, and he goes, "Why don't they just walk up the stairs?" It's like, they're monkeys, Nick.
Apes, Tim. They're apes.
extrapolate. You know what I mean? The stairs. Clearly, this is the structure that was built. I digress. The big general ape or gorilla attacks Noah, and this is a great sequence.
Oh.
And Noah realizes, hey, I can slip through these pipes, and of course, the gorilla is sealed his own fate because he can't get out as the water is rising, and he just drowns.
What the fuck? Like this
Yeah.
was insanely brutal, and I just didn't expect it. And I love it where it's like the sense of morality of this movie isn't so much are you a good person or bad
Yeah.
person based on will you kill or not kill. It's just based on so many other things of ideology and learning about treating other people differently and all that stuff. This scene of him letting this gorilla drown in front of him, like I feel like another movie he would have saved him to
Yeah.
show I'm a good guy.
We would have had the
Whatever.
apes together strong moment, you know.
No, man. He lets him fucking drown violently in front
Yeah.
of him. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was a moment of revenge he was quietly waiting for because that is the ape that killed his dad.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay.
He makes his way up to the top, the air vents, and who do we find waiting there but Proximus Caesar, still there, still ready to claim alpha status all over everyone that's out there. You have to maybe a mixture of his people, but mostly all these people are the ones that have been enslaved from the Eagle clan, and they're all just kind of like, this is still our guy.
do?
And then Noah gets his ass beat, but who does he see up in the sky? And part of me is like, is he gonna order the Eagles to attack Proximus Caesar? Because that kind of seems cheesy. And then he did, and I was like, all right.
Dude.
But he does it in the really, really good way where he sings the song that his father sang to the Eagles when he was in the aviary and would help them like build that bond and get them to do things. So he tries to sing it. And I think he tries it once before as well, and it fails.
Dude, the Kung Fu Panda of it all, it's all just fucking perfect. Halfway through the movie, him and Rocker are just chilling. Rocker's like, sing that Eagle song to me. And he's just like, I'm not going to, I don't sing that song.
Yeah.
I don't do that. And Nick looks over and he's like, he's going to sing the song. I'm like, yeah, he's going to fucking sing
I'm
the
always gonna
song.
sing the song at the end.
And then when he sings the song, and then the entire clan starts
That's
singing the
the
song.
thing.
Yeah.
When
And then
everyone
all the
starts.
Eagles come and just
Ape together
fuck
strong,
this guy
you know?
up, man.
The song-
This is awesome.
The song doesn't sound like the one his dad sang though, because it's
No.
like very war cry, like the
There was a moment where
that
I was
part of
like,
it. I was like, is this the same song?
is he singing the song that Matthew McConaughey sang at the table with the Wolf of Wall Street?
And the Eagles come.
So good. Anyway, the day has been won. There's one eagle that's holding on a little too long for my close comfort, whereas I'm like, the eagle's gonna get taken
Let
down.
go,
The
let
fuck
go,
out.
let go.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go at the final end, of course. Everything's saved. We go back to Eagletown, USA, as we are rebuilding. And someone's like, "Hey, May's here to see you," and she's got a cool like cloak on now, and she's got a horse.
She's
And,
here to say
yeah,
goodbye. She comes to say goodbye,
We think.
which is something that Noah did not do for her when he was leaving. So it's like that duality of it.
But of course, that's not really why she's here. Why she's here is to test Noah out. And she's like, "Are we going to be cool?" And he's like, "I think we're going to be cool." And she's holding a gun behind her back,
Dude,
And if he
I
was
just got
cool,
chills right now. You saying it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've been that surprised in a movie ever. Like, I just didn't see that coming. Well, maybe Spider-Man: Homecoming. But besides that,
She looks really cool. She's wearing a poncho like the boss, Metal Gear Solid 3.
Oh wow.
I
Connected.
love it. Love that they're filling each other out. Love that this is where the war is going to be now. It's between the humans and probably either Noah leading or someone like Noah. And you get the sense that and this is why I really appreciate how May is written. She's smart. She's like, this is a loose end. This could be an end that bites me in the ass.
Yeah.
And if I just shoot him in the fucking head right now and drive off, no one else is smart enough to lead these people against us and we can take back dominance. All that is said without saying a single word. It's just showing the gun behind her back. And you extrapolate every single moment of that, which
And
is cool.
he gives her the pendant that has Caesar's logo on it.
God.
And he's like, important, and gives it to her. And you know that's going to come back in the
Yeah.
next movie. It's gonna
Because
be
of
like-
course the core tenets of Caesar that he now believes are ape together strong
Yeah.
and ape doesn't kill ape.
Yeah.
And so we know that, and it's sort of a peace offering. Off she goes, riding off into, I imagine, the Central Valley. I don't know where all these clusters of satellites are. They have to be somewhere near Fresno. Nothing else to do in Fresno. And Caesar, as Noah rebuilds, and the hatchery's there and all that stuff, the fish are coming back in. The fish trade's back on. She drives back in, and then interesting, very, very interesting. Knocks on the door, and someone opens it up in a hazmat suit. She's not allowed in. Gives the drive. And this smoke show of a supermodel is like, no problem. I'm going to take it back to the other Victoria's Secret models that are in here, and we're going to extrapolate this. And here I'm thinking it's going to go into the machine, and we're starting to make a little concoction.
Network.
Everyone gets stabbed, and then boom, we're back, baby. No more dumb disease that's going to kill our ability to speak or think. No. It is the final. There's like a green, like a blue one, a yellow one, and a red one. She puts the red one in. Satellites power up, and now we can talk to
oh
everyone.
my
else in the
God, the key cards in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, I was thinking the Triforce pieces. I was thinking
Oh, well, that too. That too.
world. I mean, there's a lot of similarities here. And so off we go. Hey, can you hear us? Oh my God, we can hear you. That's so great. Where are you guys from? We're gonna come kill you all.
We're in Indiana.
I love that this whole thing was for someone to go, hello?
He's like, we're in it. He said Indiana, right?
yeah.
That was your Joe Biden voice right there that I just did.
We're gonna come kill you. You guys have
Jack.
corn there? You have some corn or grain? We're gonna kill you for the
Much
grain.
malarkey out there.
This is a bad idea. Have you seen the first episode of Fallout? And it's cool. Now we can talk to everyone, presumably so that we can coordinate and then start to build
But
humanity
all of this
back.
going along with her looking at the satellites moving and the apes being back on the fucking telescope thing, looking at the stars, the satellite in the
Yeah.
skies. Oh my God, it's so
Dude.
badass.
It's so sick.
It shows both May and Noah and his girlfriend both looking at the stars
Yeah.
to be like,
The same thing.
we're going to space, lads. Like, at some point, we're going to space. So it's like a moment where they're both like, okay, there's more out there that we need to figure out.
No, we didn't stay for the post-credit sequence. I'm not sure if there was
there
one.
one?
Or not.
There's
I don't
not.
believe
There's
there was one, but
Minecart
I did
level
see
from Donkey Kong Country.
Oh my
there
God.
was a rumor that he was going to look into the telescope and he was going to see the ship from the Mark Wahlberg movie, and it was just going
All
to say that he
connected.
was going to hear a little faint. Say hi to your mother for me.
Have you seen
This
the
movie,
video of
it didn't need a post-credit
Yeah.
scene because the end of this, it's so powerful.
perfect,
And like,
yeah.
Real talk. Like, can you guys remember a time you left a movie that you're like, I need the sequel right now more than
Yeah.
this? Like, this was just such a good setup
Spider
of
Verse, but
okay,
I know what you mean. Like,
but without it being an explicit part 1, part 2 type situation.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm fine. Like again, yes, I want to watch the sequel for this, but I thought this was just a great ending for a movie.
Yeah.
Leave them wanting more, and I'm like, I see where this is going. It's interesting. If they, I'm assuming they're making another one.
it's doing
'Cause
well.
I'm sure this will
Yeah.
do well enough to warrant that. I want to know what I would love to pick this up with just May as the central character and see what that world's like, because I'm curious what she has to have another group of people that aren't in the silo, because she's not allowed in the silo, right? So
Yeah.
like, what's going on with that? There's a lot of questions
I
that
want all
still
the
need to
other
be answered.
spy people.
Yeah, who are the spies?
Yeah,
Who's
I mean,
it's very, very cool. And who are they going to go up against? It's rad.
It sets up like another like a triforce of clashes. You got the monkeys, you got the clean humans, and then you got the dirty humans.
Dirty humans.
And at some
Yeah.
point, there's going to be like, what is the life that we as dirty humans get to live? And then it's going to be like, well, I think we're going to have to team up with the apes because we have to live together. We're the only ones not allowed in these silos
That's a good
because we've been
question.
out here.
If we were in, let's go around the table. Clean or dirty? You going to be a clean human or dirty? Clean human, you get to live, but you got to stay in the silo. Dirty human, you just get to go wherever you want. Tim, what say you?
I'm a clean boy.
Are you a
I,
clean
mean, I,
boy?
st- I stay in my bedroom all the time anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Tam, what about you?
I'm getting dirty. Like I'm running around
about you,
out
Johnny?
there.
I think I want to be William H. Macy, who gets to have
a
showers,
cats
but
person.
a lot of books.
yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Like, that's all I want to
What
do.
else is there to do? That's a good point. You
Yeah.
had the best life ever. Maybe
I'd
he
set
was right.
myself up as like a traveling trader, so no one would like want to kill me because I'm coming around with like, what are you buying, what are you selling,
what are you
like,
buying?
Selling potions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
Like,
Yeah, I love where we end with this of where the different clans are. Also knowing if there's an eagle clan, there's probably other clans that we're gonna meet at some point.
Very Avatar style.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
it's-
there's a fire clan somewhere. Yeah.
And also, like the characters we have here are not, at least seemingly, the descendants of Caesar. And we know that there's descendants from the last movie. And yes, it's been 300 years, but like I would not be surprised if a sequel tries to even more so. They meet
Yeah.
up and they find the people that have been preaching the actual word
yeah,
of
they
Caesar
find his son
throughout the time.
like, and he's like, we've been keeping it pure over here.
Yeah, and our boy Rock is coming back.
Yeah.
I
Oh
guarantee
my God, I hope
100%.
so.
man.
One of my favorite characters of like in any medium in a long time.
He's just great.
Yeah.
Now it's time for a thing I like to call RaGu BaGu.
RaGu BaGu.
Fucking C chord. C button always gets cut off.
You got to clear that out with some dust off.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys here for the Planet of the Apes in review. Tim, where does the list stand right now?
Currently, at number 1 for bad guys, we have Koba and Carver from 2. Then we have Colonel Woody from 3. Then we have Malfoy and Stryker from 1. And then we have Thad from last week's movie.
I think
Oh, forget.
Fade.
I would put this.
Who we put at 5, correct? We didn't put it 4.
You're right.
We
you're
put
right.
the movie at 5.
No, yeah, that's what it was. The movie's at 5.
I'd put this at 3. The Woody Harrelson character is so one note, but he's so wacky, and he's such a compellingly interesting person to watch that I can't put it above Woody Harrelson. And also, the Proxima C's are great, but like, you know, not in this movie that much. Like, I would say the main antagonist is the guy that killed Noah's dad, the ape that killed Noah's dad.
He's
gorilla.
awesome. I feel like the bad guy force in this movie is amazing. I feel like there's not one character that you can be like, man, this antagonist. But like the masks on these guys,
Yeah.
the fact that they have the prodders, William H. Macy being a human slave. Like, I don't know. I think it's pretty damn good. Having said that, I still agree. I think it's number 3.
I would put this at number 2
Above Woody Harrelson.
above Woody Harrelson only because I really enjoyed that they weren't what I expected them to be. I expected all these dudes to be assholes, and like we see when Noah first walks in with all of the was it him and who did he walk in with? Either way, they immediately cut the ropes off him, and they're like, "Welcome home, man."
Yeah. He
And
comes
it's
in
like, oh
with
shit, this
May.
isn't like this weird, super like violent society where everybody's like forced to be here. It's like, hey, welcome home. Well, you're family now, you know? Like,
It's like a cult where it's like,
Yeah.
you're not trapped here, but you can't leave.
It's
yeah.
basically the Olive Garden of the future.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you're here,
Yeah.
you're home. You're
When you're
family.
here, your family.
You're here.
But I also just really loved the performance of both the main gorilla and the main bad guy. I thought their voice acting performances, I could just watch that shit all day.
Tim.
Yeah. I'll probably put it below Woody Harrelson. I feel like the Woody Harrelson character as a despicable human was really, really well done. And the way they kind of invert the thing where it's like, oh, you really get to know the apes and you really invest in them. So when this human comes along, human technically in movie making, the character we most naturally would relate to, and they really like make him unrelatable and gross in the worst way possible. But that was super compelling. I think like a lot of what Andy said here is good. I think a lot of the sinister aspects of this Proxima, is it Proxima? Yeah. Proximus. I keep wanting to say Proxima Midnight.
Proxima Midnight.
Yeah. Proximus, it comes from like that kind of cult leader thing where it's like, I'm not going to hurt anyone, but I'm going to be a bit weird. And like, so that I think is good. And he's got the charisma, but ultimately, like, I feel like Despicable Human is always going to be more villainous to me than a,
Agreed.
Yeah, I would probably put this at 4 because I don't remember a ton about the first one. I'm a little bit fuzzy on it, but I remember being really upset at Draco Malfoy. And I don't necessarily have that feeling about Proximus here, where it's like, kind of has some points. I don't know if that just makes me susceptible to maybe some cult tendencies.
What I do think is interesting here is like, is May the bad guy?
That's a great question.
There's a lot of cool stuff here. So I feel like the lack of a antagonist that's like, oh, they're fucking despicable is what's making this a little bit harder to rank. But that's cool.
That's fair.
Nuance. Now it's time to rank the Planet of the Apes movies. Currently at number 1, we have War for the Planet of the Apes. That's number 3. Then at number 2, we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. That's number 2. And then at number 3, we have Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's the first one. We have a blank space. And then at number 5, we have Planet of the Apes 2001.
No, that's not what it's called.
Mark Wahlberg and Horny Ape is what it's called. Yes, thank you, Andy.
Read it right.
Thank you. Where do we want to put this one?
I would put this at number 2.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty high for me. I like that it was a departure. I like the nuance of of the May character, and I found this pretty interesting, and I think it's cool because it sets up another sequel. But I just don't think it has sort of the shock and awness of War for the Planet of the Apes, which really felt like it's hard to beat that for me because there's something so compelling about a last ditch effort that is like, is fated. And that was War for the Planet of the Apes. You knew that was like the last dying gasp of humanity. And so to see them go down in that final sequence where he doesn't even kill Woody Harrelson because Woody Harrelson just has the virus that makes him not speak and is making him go dumb. That to me is just like such a gut punch moment that just almost felt like it was finished. It was a finality. And this sort of starts off a new thing, which is cool, but for me, just a little less enjoyable.
I would say this is a hard one for me. I would say that as much as I enjoyed this movie, I would put it below number 2. I'd put this at number 3, above the first entry in the series. I had an amazing time with this. It just goes to show you how much more or just how amazing this franchise actually is, where like War and Dawn are still up there, and I fucking loved this movie.
Andy Cortez, I am right there with you. I put it at number 3, and I loved this movie, but fuck, these are good movies, man.
Yeah, I'd probably put it at 3 as well.
Kobo was so
I'm
good.
somewhere between 3 and 4. Somewhere. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's going to go at 3, but...
Yeah, so there we go.
Yeah.
Number
Should I put
3.
Mark Wahlberg and Horny Ape at 6 now?
I think you should.
Yeah, it should go there. It should definitely go.
Shouldn't
at
even
6.
touch the
Why you
other
put him at number
movies.
6?
Have you seen the video of him going, "Oh, this designer make me feel like drip drip"?
No.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I only get the Mark Wahlberg where he tells everybody to pray up.
Yeah, I
That's
mainly
the ones
follow
I
him
get.
to get my daily dose of
Oh,
praying.
that's right. Everybody stay prayed up.
Stay prayed up. Next week,
Hashtag prayed up.
we're returning to the Mad Max universe with Fury Road, and then
I'm
the
so
following
excited.
week will be Furiosa. Tam, I totally forgot to do this at the top of the show. You wanted to pimp something out.
Oh yeah, taking the opportunity to invite folks to attend our Giant Bomb live show, which is happening in LA on June 9th during Summer Game Fest at the Bellwether
is that?
Theater. June 9th, I believe, is the Sunday.
Cool.
Yeah. So we're selling tickets to that, which you can find on Ticketmaster. We haven't done many live shows, so we're trying to like build up the kind of the habit and also like the skills for it, and also prove that there's an appetite for it. So if you're around, I know there's a lot of like hurdles to clear being in Los Angeles and that kind of stuff, but if you're around, please do come attend.
I went to your guys' Game of the Year show earlier this year, and it was really fun.
Yeah, it
had a
was
great
fun.
time.
It was like it had loads of wacky segments. You know, someone got a pie in the face at one point, and we try and make it worth the money you spend to be there. And we're going to have a bunch of special guests this year. So if you're out there, please do come.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Everyone check it out. And let us know in the comments below what you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, of all these movies. If you just want to talk shit about Mark Wahlberg, feel free to do that as well. Kind of whatever you want to do. But until next time,
talk shit about me.
don't forget,
They
apes
prayed up.
together strong.
Yeah.